Boop. Boop.
Bop. And we are live.
Good.
Oh, fucking course there'll be an ad break starting in a minute.
There's always in the beginning.
Why?
Because that's how it is.
Ah.
We're back!
We are back!
Oh.
Well, let's finish.
We're ready?
Yeah.
Alright, we gotta finish up Hijikata.
Yep. And
Let's
then started on,
Harada.
How did we come to describe him?
Who?
Hadada, because we got Poster Boy. We got
good question.
We got Himbo Boy.
You got the good boy. The favorite boy.
Yeah.
The fuck do we describe Saito?
I always thought he was more like Quiet Boy.
Okay, yeah.
Just because of the way that I voice him.
Then how did
I don't want to base it off of the other anime.
No. But I mean, like...
He is not Boisterous Boy. Honestly, give that to Nakakura, if anything.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't know how to describe Hanada. Now you're gonna have that in my head for the entire stream. Thanks. Kaka!
Glad to be of help.
And of course, if you're wondering what Cosme is the bitch.
Yeah, he doesn't even get a boy title. He just gets the bitch.
Mostly because he called me a bitch first.
Wait, when was this? Was this in Kyoto Winds or whatever?
As far as I know, in Kyoto Winds, I'm gonna assume in this one as well. In his route, he literally calls us a bitch.
Okay, yeah, it's justified.
I got my summons from Otori right after the Matsumaya domain fell. Matsumaya domain, the domain that governs the Ezo region. The Matsumaya domain had, until then, governed the island of Ezo. If Hijikata-san and the rest of the loyalist forces were to operate in Ezo, the Matsumaya was, by necessity, their first target. I crossed to the island just as Otori had instructed, booking passage on a Russian merchant ship. I arrived to find the land of Ezo covered in snow.
Are you jealous?
Yes!
Oh. Ohayamash Yukimura-kun.
When I arrived at Hakodate, it was Otori who came to pick me up.
Why am I getting Last of Us vibes with the way that this place looks and that we're at the end of the game?
Thank you so much for arranging all of this, and already. What was that?
I said take a drink.
My water is green tea flavored.
And I've got some Hawaiian punch still.
I'm still jealous. I gave him a short bow. And congratulations on establishing the Republic of Ezo. Republic of Ezo, an entity established by former vassals of Tokugawa. It was intended to be a refuge for the remnants of the Tokugawa clan and a stronghold of samurai tradition, not an independent state. So not an independent state, just... Okay. After conquering Matsumae, they'd wasted no time in establishing the country that had been proposed back in Sendai. So, its own thing?
I guess.
But
Well, calling it a republic is a bit of an exaggeration.
he smiled.
As soon as the elections were finished, I sent for you.
Elections? As quickly and simply as he could, Otori explained the concept of an election and how it gave everyone a voice in the government. Then everyone has a say about who's in power? I never heard of such a thing before, but it seemed like a good idea. Until it goes bad.
Looking at our own government right now, Etamoto is our president at the moment. He's the only one who could call the whole government together.
Okay, hold on. I gotta bring up something.
Uh-oh.
I gotta go find,
Enomoto-san is our president at the moment. He's the only one who could call the whole government together.
Oh, please don't be gone. Okay, let me find it. It has to be somewhere. One second. Enomoto had 156 votes, Otori had 86 votes, and Hijikata had 73 votes.
For what?
President.
Hijikata had a vote?
Hijikata had votes?
What? I don't think he would be suited to lead a country. He's better off leading a company of men into battle.
Enomoto had the most. Somehow Otori beat him. And I mean, there were more people as well. But, like, I think Enomoto probably went with the fucking mustache, let's be real. Oops. Otori had taken the post of Minister of the Army, and Hijikata-san was Vice Minister of the same.
You had to wait for 3 months, I understand. Were they very long?
Yes. I nodded. Still, the fact that they'd already defeated the Matsumae domain and established their own government spoke well for the excellence of the one-time shogun former military. 3 months had been a long time for me, but to the world of war and politics, it was scarcely the blink of an eye. Otori-san and I chatted as we walked, but when the subject of Hijikata-san came up, his expression clouded.
Ever since we came to Ezo, Hijikata-san has been different.
Different? How?
He's nicer to his men, which is good, but he spends too much of his time locked away in his room. He says that he spends most of his time in there in deep thought, and he won't let anyone come by.
I wasn't quite sure what to say. Otori seemed to sense it, and instead of continuing the conversation, reached into his jacket to remove an envelope.
Oh, I think he needs you.
Me? My heart skipped a beat.
This document officially appoints you to your position. You can get the details after you give it to Hijikata-san.
Thank you.
Take a drink.
Drink.
We need to have a count on that. How many times she says thank you and I'm so sorry?
Oh, God.
I mean, you did it for the Soji counter, so...
Yeah, but I didn't do it for every single time Soji opened his fucking mouth.
Yeah, but you're not doing that for every time that Chizuru opens up her mouth.
I took the letter from him and bowed. Sir. The year was coming to an end. I changed into the western clothes I brought. It was going to take time to get used to them, and headed to Goryokaku. Goryokaku, a star-shaped fortress built in Hakodate. It made use of European-style fortifications and served as the chief fortress for the Republic of Ezo. The main hall was full of people, all of them there to celebrate the establishment of their new government. But Hijikata-san wasn't among them. He was in his room alone. I took a deep breath, then wrapped my hand against the door several times in quick succession. Otori-san had called it knocking, and told me that it was customary to do it when opening a Western-style door to signal whoever was inside.
It is polite.
Yes,
aside,
it is.
You know, in comparison to just barging in like, "Hey, Hijikata!"
The one time Nagakura does it because they couldn't find Soji, but he was just in Haruka's room hanging out. So Haruka threw a pillow at his face and knocked him backwards, saying, "Nagakura, do you have no manners?"
I did not realize that you'd be in here, Kasan. I'm so sorry. And just quickly gets out of there.
So
He's not even phased at the pillow just hitting him in the face either. It just hits him and then drops.
So she's just laughing his ass off. After a few seconds of silence, a tired voice drifted out.
I'm not attending. This isn't the time for a party.
I knew that voice very well. I put my hand on the doorknob and turned. Excuse me. He turned towards the door, preparing a half-hearted tirade for whoever had intruded on his solitude. When he saw me, the words froze in his throat. Chizuru Yukimura reporting as ordered. I have been assigned to serve as Vice Minister Hijikata-san's page by Minister Otori-san. His mouth worked soundlessly for a moment, finally closing with a snap. He stared at me intently for several more seconds, then frowned.
It's a mistake. I haven't been told about this.
I handed him the letter Otori-san had given me. I was given these orders from Minister Otori-san earlier. He snatched the envelope from me with a scowl and tore it open. His eyes scanned the page rapidly, his frown deepening with each line. When he finished, he shot me a sharp look and thrust the letter and its envelope back into my hands.
No, take it back. I can't approve this posting.
What do you think?
Don't take it.
Take it.
Uh,
I understand. I nodded and took the letter from his outstretched hand. Then I tore it to pieces.
What are you doing?
He looked shocked. I don't care if you won't approve these orders. I shouldn't have relied on them in the first place. I tried to force Hijikata-san to let me stay with Otori-san's orders. Now I saw how wrong that had been. I didn't come to Ezo because I was ordered to. I'd accepted Otori-san's help and came to Otori-san's help and come to Ezo because I wanted to be with Hijikata-san. That was all that mattered. I came here because I wanted to. I want you to let me stay. Here. With you. I couldn't let orders be the reason. He had to make that choice. Hijikata-san frowned and looked away.
Not fair for me to be the only guy with the luxury of a girl for a page. Especially when I'm sending men off to die.
Is that why you left me? He fell silent and shifted, uncomfortable. Then that was why. Stop this!
Discord didn't like that, but...
Oh, goody. Before I realized it, I was yelling. Hijikata-san looked equally surprised. You always do this! You decide you can't do something, and then you make up all the excuses you need to justify it. You say you're doing it for my feelings, but you don't even know what they are. When he'd left me behind, Hijikata-san had said that he couldn't make me happy, and that I should go live my life. But he was what made me happy, and I wanted to live my life with him. Now he was trying to push me away again, so that he could bear his burden alone. I couldn't let him do that. You take on so much, and you won't let anyone else help.
That's my job.
There was an edge of anger to his voice.
If I can't handle it, then it's my responsibility to.
I screamed back at him at the top of my lungs. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
What about the people who have to watch you do this? I watched him torture himself this way for too long. Every hardship, every burden was his and his alone to suffer in solitude. And I hadn't been the only one. Inoue-san, Yamazaki-san, Kondo-san. They all had to watch, and so had plenty of other people who cared about him. I can't let you do this to yourself. I want to be here for you. I want to help you. What else am I supposed to do? Hijikata-san suddenly became blurry, and I realized that there were tears filling my eyes. He fell silent. Then, after several moments of silence, he sighed and slumped.
I give up.
I blinked.
Can't fight an Edo woman. Better to just listen to him, I guess.
His voice was gentle, and he looked up with a wry smile. Then suddenly his arms were around me.
Doll!
There you go.
Oh!
Hold on. There you go.
Yeah!
I let myself sink into his chest, speechless. He held me tight as if now that he finally had me, he didn't ever want to let go.
Ever since you left.
He stopped, and I could sense him trying to organize his feelings. I got the impression he was confused. But
I've figured some things out.
his arms tightened. Whatever distance has separated us in the past was long gone now.
You supported me. Guess that's the best way to put it.
He sounded slightly bewildered, as if even he couldn't believe what he was saying. He wasn't the only one.
when you're not here, it's hard for me to deal with it. All of it. Life, I guess.
My heart swelled with each word he spoke.
You saved me.
I could feel the warmth of his body touching every part of mine. I couldn't stop crying.
Chizuru-chan, do you think that the Shinzugumi still stands for what it means to be a true samurai? Have I done what I was supposed to do? Have I led us down the right path?
The soul of the Shinsengumi that our friends believed in is alive in you. Then after a moment of thought, I continued. In fact, I think it's even stronger now. We've been through a lot, but it's brought all of us together.
Hearing you say that makes me happy.
His voice was warm.
The men that the Shinzugumi have left are true samurai. There's no more need for the Iron Fist.
Everyone in the Shinsengumi had the same goal in sight now. With that unity of vision came a clarity of purpose, and I hoped that without the necessity for discipline and management, Hijikata-san's burden might ease a little. Well, from now on, please don't try and hide your problems from me. I'm here to help you. You don't have to do this alone anymore. He was silent then, but his arms stayed wrapped around me. Then at last he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper.
Stay with me.
As Vice Minister Hijikata's page, I spent every day assisting him in his duties. Oh no. Oh no, I know what's coming up. It's called a wingman.
Yeah.
Since coming to Ezo, he'd seemed much more at ease during the daylight hours. Perhaps there was something about the northern climate that was affecting his fiery blood. My job saw me spending more time around Hijikata-san than I ever had before, and he began treating me quite nicely. Hello, Mr. Yan. I felt a little bad that I was getting spoiled, but whenever I was around him, my heart soared and my breath came a little faster. Then one day, just after the beginning of the new year, Tori-san came to visit Hijikata-san.
Almost like what's happened in a couple of days.
Oh my god. That's right. Please, have some tea.
Oh. Domo.
He gave me a warm smile as I handed him his tea.
Your assistant here is quite something. Tell me, where did you find her? Well, I think some samurai wannabe had her sent over here without my permission. Do you know anything about that?
He glared at Otori-san, who only laughed.
Oh, I was only doing it for your sake, you know. Although, I admit I'm a bit jealous now. A cute, dedicated, efficient page. What else could... What man could ask for anything more?
No, I'm... My cheeks felt like they were burning up. I tried to busy myself with the tea and avoided meeting anyone's eyes. Ichikata-san glanced at me for a moment, then back at Otori-san, his face calm and serene.
I agree. So long as she sticks with me, I don't think I'll need anybody else.
I nearly dropped the tea.
Oh!
Otori-san also looked rather surprised, but quickly raised his cup to his lips in an attempt to hide it. I felt as if I should say something, but... when I opened my mouth, nothing came out. Hijikata-san, of course, remained entirely unruffled and sipped at his tea as if he'd done nothing more exciting than comment on the weather while Otori-san and I recovered. Otori-san finished a very, very long sip, coughed awkwardly, and spoke.
I didn't think I'd hear something like that from you, Hijikata-san. I'd want a wife like her, too.
Hijikata-san laughed.
Well, she's mine. You'll have to go find one of your own, because there's no way I'm letting her go.
Otori-san laughed. My face was growing hotter by the moment. But now my ears were probably the same shade of brilliant scarlet as my cheeks. Again, Otori, the wingman.
Yes!
Otori-san looked at Hijikata-san and me and laughed again.
Well, with Hijikata-san in this sort of mood, I suppose I should have stayed for too long,
Otori. Otori's about to get a smack to the head. With one last grin at me, he turned to Hijikata-san. When he spoke, his voice was grim.
Do you think they'll be coming?
They? Who are they talking about? Hijikata-san showed no sign of being surprised, but I saw the good cheer of a moment before fade. But I saw the good cheer of a moment before fade from his face as well.
Yeah, as soon as the snow melts.
Otori-san nodded.
Well, if you think so, too, I'm convinced. I've been thinking the same thing myself. Inamoto-san wants to try and work things out diplomatically, but I don't think we'll get out of this without at least some fighting. Yeah, there'll be a fight, that's for sure. No way the Imperial Army's just gonna forget about us.
Oh. At last, I understood.
Inamoto-san can hope for peace if that's what he wants to do. But the army should be ready to move as soon as spring's here. Of course. Don't worry about Inamoto-san and his cabinet. I'll deal with them.
Hijikata-san nodded.
Gotta admit, before we came here, never thought you and me would ever see eye to eye. Yeah, well, we did get off to a bit of a rocky start. Neither one of us was born a samurai, but we went about becoming that in different ways.
They shared a short grin.
The family you were born into isn't important. It's what you make of yourself that matters.
Otori-san and Hijikata-san were two very different people, but listening to his passion as he talked, there was no doubt that he was similarly admired by his men. His words resonated with me especially. I was born into a family of demons, but here I was.
We choose to fight. We choose who to fight for what we believe in. That path led us here. That's all there is to it.
Hijikata-san smiled and nodded.
Our ambition will never waver. We'll fight until the very end, and we'll give it all we've got.
Otori-san smiled back, relieved.
Thanks for your time.
He bowed to both of us, stood up, and let himself out. There's going to be a battle? I set about clearing the teacups.
Come here, Chizuru.
He turned and stepped out of the room without even waiting for my response. Huh? I set the teacups down again and trotted after him. Where are we going?
We're gonna go outside.
Apparently. Outside, the wind was frigid. Without thick clothing, it cut straight through to the bone. We looked out over Ezo, blanket and snow.
See those mountains?
Yeah? Some miles distant, a row of snow-covered peaks thrust their way up into the slate gray sky like jagged teeth.
They'll attack Hakodate through those mountains.
Why not from the ocean? They'll have to come by ship. There was no other way to Ezo. That meant they'd have to land somewhere to unload troops, so I'd assume they'd try and take the port first. Hijikata-san seemed to think otherwise.
No, they're smarter than that. We've got the advantage if they just try to take the port. If the Imperial Army comes to Ezo, they'll probably land in Otobe, maybe Isashi.
Otobe, a town facing the Japan Sea in southwestern Ezo. Izashi, a port town facing the Sea of Japan in southwestern Ezo. Well, the both southwestern Ezo, apparently. I nodded. From what I remembered of the maps of Ezo I'd seen, Otobe and Izashi lay on the opposite side of the mountains.
Once their men are over the mountains, they'll have their navy open fire on Hakodate, attacking us on two fronts.
We were at a disadvantage then. Isn't there anything we can do?
Not if they attack from the ocean. If it turns into a naval battle, we're screwed. The battle here at Goryokaku Goryokaku will be my last. This is the last place I'll ever draw my sword as a samurai.
Hijikata-san. Did that mean he believed he would die? I was desperate to talk about something else, anything else, and so I said the first thing that came into my head. If they don't come, then what will you do? There was no doubt that they would come, but I couldn't help but dream that maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't. Ichikata-san didn't even seem to consider how ridiculous of a question it was. He only shrugged and replied matter-of-factly.
If they don't come for us, this whole thing ends. Won't be any need for something like the Shinsengumi anymore.
A new era where samurai weren't needed? Where men were no longer compelled to draw swords against one another? Could such a future ever come to pass? Unfortunately, we live in it.
Yeah.
I want swords back. Literally. I feel like it's more... I don't know. What the fuck am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
More skill.
I mean... Yeah.
It's more skill and probably less innocent lives taken.
Yeah.
Bring the swords back. I felt my...
Definitely in the wrong era.
I felt my heart swell with a desperate hope that it might. No sooner had we stepped back into the inviting warmth of Hichikata-san's office than his expression suddenly shifted. Hello, round 5.
Oh no.
His body changed as I watched, his fiery nature forcing itself to the fore. Hichikata-san!
Don't worry. I've been doing pretty good since I came to Ezo.
He forced out a smile even though he was clearly in pain. The idiot.
Looks like my body's getting worse. Hopefully it'll hold up till spring at least.
Did he mean that he was ready to throw away his life so long as he lived to fight in one last battle?
Yes.
When I spoke, I was surprised to find myself shouting.
You fucking idiot.
Please.
Give him blood.
Please don't say that. And yes, we're gonna give him blood. Didn't I tell you why I'm here?
What?
I unbuttoned my collar, exposing the pale flesh of my neck, and stepped towards him. Please, don't say you just want to live until spring. I need you to live longer than that. Much longer. Tears fought to get out, but I swallowed and pushed them back. I'm not going to let you go.
You're a scary girl. You know that?
He smiled, although the pain twisted it into a heart-wrenching grimace. His hands clasped my shoulder and I felt his lips brush my neck. God fucking damn it!
I haven't tasted any blood in a while.
I blinked. You haven't had any since you left me back in Sendai? He fell silent, and I guessed I was probably right. Why? I almost asked why not, but decided it was probably best that I didn't. He likely wouldn't have answered, and I suspected I already knew the reason. If he only cared that his body lasted until spring, then he likely had been taking care of it. That stubbornness of his was a double-edged sword, to be sure, but it was part of what made him him, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world. My blood must taste awfully good.
Oh, it's the best.
God damn it. I felt him stop settling for a moment, surprised, but his lips stayed pressed against my neck. Because I'm a demon.
Yeah, you are.
In fact, it must be so good that you don't want to drink anyone else's blood. He let out a soft snort of surprise.
Well, maybe you're right.
When his lips touched my neck again, they felt very, very gentle. Before long, winter gave way to spring. Oh boy. The snow melted, but the weather remained cold. We received the disquieting news that the Imperial Army's navy was headed for Ebisu. The report claimed they meant to lay anchor in Miyako Bay. Are we covering Miyako Bay? Miyako Bay, a coastal city that opens to the Pacific Ocean.
Not the Sea of Japan, but the Pacific Ocean.
Yes. To the east. Since the Republic of Ezo didn't have many warships, a plan was hatched to capture the enemy flagship. They could damage enemy morale and bolster their own fleet in one fell swoop. Hichikata-san was selected to participate in the operation, but I was ordered to remain at Goryokaku. While he was away, I divided my time between being terrified that he might never ever return and praying for his safety. To my great relief, he did return from the ironclad seizure?
It's supposed to be seas.
Seizure?
Ironclad seizure operation.
And Miyako Bay. Ironclad, a warship plated with iron down to the waterline. I was so glad to see him that I burst into tears. He gave me a wry smile and a few sarcastic words, but he stayed with me until I stopped crying. Unfortunately, the Ironclad seizure operation had been a failure. One of our ships had been lost, and with it a talented captain. A number of soldiers had died as well, including several men from the Shinsengumi. The flagship had eluded capture, and the attack had ended in a rout?
It is a rout.
Okay, rout.
Yeah, because you have a lot of route chapters and birthright.
Okay. Also, I'd like to mention, since theoretically, Nomura and Soma don't exist in this one, it doesn't hit as hard as it did in the remake. Because Miyako Bay is where Nomura dies. Yeah. I sat stunned and listened to him recount the ordeal. When he finished, he looked me straight in the eye and spoke.
You still got time, Shizuru. Get as far away from Hakodate as you can.
His tone was dead serious.
You can take a Russian or a British ship. I'll get everything worked out. You won't have to worry about a thing.
His eyes were pleading. I understood what he was trying to do. Hijikata-san knew the Shinsengumi would almost certainly lose the battle that would soon be upon them. He wanted me to escape to safety, somewhere where Hakodate would be a distant memory. He wanted me to survive, but he intended to die. I want to stay with you. It warmed my heart to know that he cared for me, but I couldn't leave him alone to die. I wouldn't. Please don't send me away. I want to be with you. When he'd been gone on assignment in Miyako Bay, I'd felt empty, as if some integral part of me was missing. Even breathing had felt painful. A life without him would break my heart in two. I won't ever leave you again. He knit his eyebrows in worry and looked at me silently for several long moments, then finally let out a sigh.
You're fine. If it means that much to you, you can stay. You really are a weird one.
He grumbled about it as usual, but at least he'd capitulated. I could see his mind working hard as his eyes flickered back and forth in minuscule amounts. You're worried about me, right?
Of course.
He looked away and answered with too much forced nonchalance. Well, if you're worried about me, then don't let me out of your sight, okay? It's your job to keep me safe. I smiled at him and his eyebrows rose in surprise. And you can't do that if you're dead, can you? He thought about that for several moments.
True. I can't let you out of my sight.
He wasn't quite willing to commit to the rest, it seemed. But I was happy that he would admit to wanting to live, if only a little. It was May when the Imperial Army began to march towards Ezo. Just as Hijikata-san had predicted, they landed in Otobe and moved their forces through the Matsumai and Futamata passes. Matsumai Pass, one of the paths that connects Otobe and Hakodate. Keisuke Otori commanded troops tasked with defending this location. Futamata Pass, one of the paths that connects Otobe and Hakodate. Toshizo Hijikata commanded troops charged with the task of defending this location. Otori led the men who had been assigned to hold the Matsumai Pass, and Hijikata had men assigned to Futamata. I had accompanied Hijikata-san to the Futamata Pass, where we waited for the enemy to show themselves. Even though the snow had long since melted, the weather was still quite cold, and it grew even worse during the night. Some nights it was enough to make men stationed out of doors lose sensation in their hands and feet. On one such night, Hijikata-san appeared at the makeshift barracks with a barrel of alcohol. Boop.
Battle's gonna start soon. I'll be counting on you guys. Of course, sir! Thank you, sir!
Hijikata-san went down the lines, pouring a cup for each soldier.
We can't afford to rest, unfortunately. But I figured at least you could have a little sake.
It wasn't every day that a general went down among his men to pass out alcohol, and it was easy to see that the gesture had moved and inspired them.
I'd like to just give you guys as much as you want, but we don't know when the fighting is gonna start. And we sure as hell don't want to be drunk when they attack, right?
A ripple of laughter moved through the men.
So, sorry I gotta be a killjoy, but for now you get only one cup. Once the fighting is over, though, you can have as much as you want. Yeah, we'll make it through this! No, screw that! We're gonna kick ass so we can come back here and get drunk! That's something worth fighting for! Yeah!
Jesus.
I know that's something that the soldiers... Yeah, I figured that, yeah, like that would have been, like, similar to that.
The soldiers laughed and cheered, and Hijikata-san even joined in. The whole army was tense with the anticipation of battle. Every person at the Futamata Pass knew that it would be a difficult one. But Hijikata-san's visit had raised their spirits and bolstered the resolve. The frigid spring night seemed a little bit warmer. As Hijikata-san and I walked back to his tent from the barracks, the soldiers still talking and carousing behind us, I finally spoke. Hijikata-san, are you alright? He looked down at me, one eyebrow raised. I was at a loss for words. Something had made me nervous, but I couldn't put my finger on what. You're not drunk, are you?
No, I'm not hotter than...
Senpachi.
I'm not hotter than Senpachi, alright?
He grinned and gave a snort of laughter.
What, that's it? Come on, kid, I've only had one cup. I can hold my liquor.
He says, but in many parties he does not drink at all. The smile faded from his face, and his gaze slipped into the distance.
They're like sons to me, you know?
I knew how he felt. The men in that barracks had gathered to the battle standards of the Shinsengumi. Their warrior souls longed for the honor and righteousness the Shinsengumi stood for.
Not much I can do for them now. Seems like a little sake is the least I can do for them.
There was no option of retreat from the Futamata Pass. If the enemy overwhelmed us, or our ammunition ran out, then the Imperial Army would slaughter us and march on into Ezo. But even in the face of such odds, no one doubted Hijikata-san. Each and every man there was prepared to fight and to die, if that was what he called upon them to do. Sake was a small thing to give them in return, but perhaps it was enough. I'm sure they understand how you feel. He blinked, his eyes coming back into focus, and turned to look at me. His face broke into a warm smile.
Well, if you think so, then I must have done something right.
I felt my face flush. Well, I thought to myself, I need to tell him how I feel more often. By early June, the weather had begun to warm up. Unfortunately, with the warm weathers come battle at the Matsumai Pass, and Otori-san's men were routed by the Imperial Army. Ichikata-san and his men were ordered to retreat from Futamata and return to Goryokaku in Hakodate, where the final battle will take place. Everything had gone just as Ichikata-san had predicted. After returning to Hakodate, Ichikata-san immediately left for Benton Fortress. Benton Fortress, a marine fortress guarding Hakodate in the Republic of Ezo. It was built during the late Tokugawa period. Benton had been built on a section of man-made land that extended out into the ocean. It was outfitted with an artillery battery to fend off attacks by hostile navies. Hijikata-san's purpose was to meet with Otori-san and other members of the Shinsengumi.
It's been a while, Hijikata-san, sir.
Clearly, far too long for Shimada-san, who looked delighted to see his old friend. When he noticed me, he grinned even wider.
I'm glad you're doing well, too. I hear you're Hijikata-san's page now.
Weren't we always his page? He's decided to let me stick around. I grinned back. I don't know if I can live up to the bar you set, but I'm doing my best. Shimada-san shook his head and laughed.
No, nobody can do what you do.
Huh?
Hey, Shimada, knock it off. That stuff starts going to her head, and I'm gonna be the one who has to deal with it.
Shimada-san shut his own mouth with a snap. Hijikata-san gave a short snort, then asked him to go fetch Otori-san.
I'm sorry, Hijikata-san. It's my fault we lost Matsumane Pass.
Otori-san looked exhausted, his face lined and tight.
What happened, happened. We got screwed because we split up our forces. The Imperial Army has us outnumbered. But if we want to win this, we're gonna have to concentrate our men at Benton and Goryaku. Got it.
Goryokaku.
Goryokaku. Right? Yes. Okay, break.
Otori-san relaxed visibly.
You could trust us with Benton Fortress.
His tone was cheerful, but almost desperately so.
So as long as the Shinsengumi standard flies, we'll fight to the last man.
Hijikata-san gave him a wry smile.
Don't say crap like that. You already forget Otori-san's is in command of the fortress.
Shimada-san wilted slightly.
Wilted, yes.
Oh.
I'll raise the Shinsengumi standard for this battle. Then everything should be fine, right?
He smiled at us.
So long as it's up, I don't think I can lose. I've lost some battles here and there, sure, but I've never given up on the spirits of the samurai.
He smiled at Hijikata-san, who responded by curling up the corner of his mouth.
What? Now the Minister of the Army superstitious? You need to get your act together, Otori-san.
That was when I realized, suddenly, that all three of them were smiling. They weren't just fellow soldiers anymore. They were comrades and friends united in purpose.
Alright, I'm gonna leave Benton in your hands.
After acknowledging nods all around, he turned to leave. Good luck. I bowed and turned to follow Hijikata-san.
Not you. You're staying.
But
Yukimura-kun! I am trusting you with Hijikata-san!
I turned to see Shimada-san looking at me, his eyes serious.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, you can't do that.
What?
I looked Shimada-san straight in the eye. No, you can't pass that off on me. I understood the unspoken meaning of Shimada-san's request all too well. He was prepared to die. Words slipped out of me in a torrent. We don't know when this battle's going to end. It might go on for a really long time. Even if we drive the Imperial Army back, there'll be another fight eventually.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
His eyebrows rose. I can't do everything, you know. Shimada-san couldn't die. That would make Hijikata-san sad. It would make me sad. I need your help. Shimada-san looked at me silently for a moment, then released a great sigh.
Well, shoot.
A grin had spread across his face.
I guess I should have expected that from the girl who hooked Hijikata-san. You've got a strong heart, Yukimura-kun. Stronger than any man I've ever known.
I felt my face flush and looked down at the ground. Thanks, Shimada! Come on, don't make fun of me. Shimada-san only laughed out loud.
Oh, alright. I promise not to throw my life away. I'll stick around to help him out.
Hijikata-san's burden was a heavy one, but the more friends he had to care for him, the lighter it would feel. I couldn't let Shimada-san die, and I couldn't let myself die either. It was the evening of June 19th. We were going about our normal business when Hijikata-san suddenly spoke.
If they're going to attack, it'll be tomorrow.
Right. The Imperial Army was nearly on our doorstep. When the sun rose the next day, Hakodate would become a battlefield, and Goryokaku would be our last refuge.
Jesus. Are you sure?
I knew what he was about to say. Yes, I am. I'll stay with you. However, the battle ended. I meant to be there with him when it did. He sighed.
I need to stop letting you say it all the time.
What? His expression was solemn, but his lips were pressed tightly together, and I could feel his hesitation. The silence dragged on and on, until I began to feel rather uncomfortable. Finally, I opened my mouth to speak, but before I could...
More than anything else, I want to keep you safe. I think I'm probably in love with you.
It finally admits it!
Yeah!
The Discord did not like that.
No, it didn't. Yay!
My mouth hung open. The question I'd intended to ask now long forgotten. I'd loved Hijikata-san for some time by then, and in the past weeks and months, I'd begun to realize how much he cared for me as well. But to hear the words at last... For a moment, I thought my heart would stop. In love. He gently lifted my mouth shut and gave me a crooked smile.
I thought I could just die as soon as I'd done what I had to do for the Shinsengumi.
I didn't know what to say.
It's not that I wanted to die or anything like that. I wouldn't have had anything to live for anymore.
He smiled, although it seemed a little sad. At most, he had only ever allowed me glimpses of his thoughts and feelings, but now he was telling me things I was sure no other human had ever heard. It made me happy to know that he trusted me so truly and deeply, but what he was telling me was heartbreaking. To look into the future and see nothing? How could that not have been agony?
So long as I held the Shinsengumi and made them into what they were meant to be, what did it matter if I lived or died?
The Shinsengumi had been the only thing that kept him going. Once that burden was no longer his to carry, his life would be empty. Unless he could find something new, what reason would there be to go on living?
But now, I've got a reason to live.
I felt my body sag with relief. I'm so glad. He'd been through so much pain, and yet he still wanted to live. That made me happier than anything else. That's good. I could feel tears start to well up in my eyes. Hijikata-san smiled down at me tenderly and laid his hand against my cheek. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper.
For the reason I want to live.
Me? Did he really mean that? Could I really be Hijikata-san's reason for living?
Yes!
Would I be able to give him what the Shinsengumi had? I started to cry. He opened his mouth as if to say something, then closed it. There was no more need for words. There, look at it.
Yeah!
He wrapped his arms around my body and drew me close. I felt his warm breath moments before his lips pressed against mine. There, nestled safe in his encircling arms, I felt content. I felt happy. His hair brushed against my tear-stained cheeks, tickling me. I could feel his desire for me in a way so deep and powerful that mere words could never have done it justice. His warmth pressed against me, soothing even the deepest places in my heart. All the wounds I suffered at sorrow's hand began to close, his love the only salve they needed. At last his stubborn heart had opened, and through his lips it poured out what it had long kept hidden. His touch was as gentle as ripples on a lake, but when we kissed, I felt in him a passion that burned so hot as to put a forge to shame. I could feel our hearts, our feelings, our very selves intertwine. And though that feeling faded as our lips parted, the love that had flowed between us remained in my heart, its radiance undimmed. I love Hijikata-san as he loves me. That was an immutable truth now. The sky was blue, fire was hot, and we loved one another. Fire was hot. A faint smile played about Hijikata-san's face as we looked at each other. But when he spoke, it was with a strong, powerful voice I had heard many times before when he commanded his men.
You're going to stay by my side. I won't let you go even if you want to. So be prepared.
His eyes met mine, and through them I felt an echo of the moment we just shared. Yes! I couldn't stop crying. My heart overflowed with joy, and it trickled down my face as tears. Okay. I helped give Hijikata-san a reason to live, or at least that was how he felt. That was more than I could ever have asked for. The following day, Hijikata-san received notice that Benton Fortress had come under concentrated bombardment. The Imperial Army had begun their attack. After hearing how dire the situation at Benton was, Hijikata-san immediately decided to send reinforcement to the fortress.
I'm leaving to support the men at Benton. Chizuru, you're coming, right?
He grinned. Whoosh! Since I had never learned to ride a horse, Hijikata-san had simply sent me behind him on his and set off for Benton Fortress.
Hold on tight.
We galloped through the town, moving at what seemed to me an incredible pace, when suddenly the crack of a shotgun ran out and something slammed into Hijikata-san's body. The horse, surprised by the gunshot, reared up and threw us to the ground. Ow! Now rid of its frightening burden, the horse bolted.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.
I've been fortunate enough to... God, Jesus. I've been fortunate enough to land in a bush, and so the greatest injury I sustained was a number of small scratches. Hijikata-san! I crawled across the ground towards his body, my own bruised and aching. The soil all around him was stained dark red.
Oh, he got shot.
Yeah, he got shot. In my time with the Shinsengumi, I'd seen many battlefields and a great deal of blood, but this? Terror gripped my heart, and I could hear blood hammering in my ears. What was I going to do? Hijikata-san! I shook his body and almost cried out when he stirred. His wound was serious. Our normal human would have died instantly, but his fiery blood had kept him alive, if only barely. Please, say something! His eyes opened to thin slits.
Chizuru. Are you alright?
Yes, I'm fine. He was nearly dead, and undoubtedly in excruciating pain, but even then his first thought had been my safety. I choked back a sob. This was not the time.
We're in trouble if they come back to finish the job. We need to get out of here and wait for this to heal.
He struggled to his feet and began to walk, blood dripping down the length of his body. Hijikata-san, stop! I ran over and hauled his arm around my shoulder. He leaned against it gratefully. After seeing us shot and thrown from the horse, the shooter undoubtedly assumed we were dead. They weren't likely to come back, but if we didn't move, we could still be found.
Indeed.
You're right. We need to leave, but please let me help you walk. You're hurt. I gave him the bravest smile I could muster and shifted his arms to a better position across my shoulders. He smiled back. At first we headed for Goryokaku, but the Imperial Army had already laid siege to it. We could have been walking to our deaths. For the time being, we needed to hide ourselves, and for that we needed a place away from the enemy lines. To the rear of Goryokaku, we found it.
Yay!
Oh, we're here already? Alright. I give props to the remake for extending this a bit more.
Huh.
A garden of cherry trees, the soft petals of their blossoms dancing in the wind. It felt almost unreal, as if we were stepping into another world. We rested at last beneath one of the trees, where the smell of flowers could help drive away the scent of blood. Hijikata-san's wounds were deep, and so far had shown no signs of healing. Perhaps his fury power was beginning to fade. Perhaps that meant his life would soon be at an end.
He was right. It was his last battle, so...
Oh, I think they, like, switched the position of the scenes, actually. Which I still kind of prefer Edo Blossom's version. Suddenly my mind was full of dreadful things and I froze, paralyzed with dread.
Good. Next to those cherry blossoms.
I did not hear the first part.
You look good. Next to those cherry blossoms.
Huh? I blinked. Do you really think so? I never thought that myself or anything even remotely like it.
Really starting to wonder why you weren't called Sakura.
I've always thought they really suited you, though. Hijikata-san would look right at home in the middle of a storm of blossoms. Each fallen petal was strikingly beautiful, in defiance of the tragic end they would surely face. There was a strange sort of heroism to the cherry blossom, I thought, to shine so brightly in defiance of fate. Hijikata-san, with his unshakable devotion to the samurai way, shone as brightly and beautifully as any cherry blossom. Oh. For some reason, I found that thought calmed me. The worries that had crowded my mind began to fade, and I felt myself beginning to think that perhaps things would work out after all. The sight of the blossoms and the sound of Hijikata-san's calm, gentle voice raised my spirits back up. We would survive. Hijikata-san and I would make it through this war, side by side. This was not the time to lose hope. When I turned to look at him, I saw that there was a tender smile on his face, almost as if he could see through my thoughts. Hijikata-san. When spring came next year, I wanted to be here with him, to catch the cherry blossoms fall. I wanted to be with him when every spring came. The words were waiting, ready on my tongue, when a great gust sprang up, throwing the wildly tumbling petals high into the air. They drifted slowly, almost lazily, back to the ground. And then suddenly, he was there.
Hi, bitch! So, you were alive.
His eyes fell on Hijikata-san, and his mouth curled up in a smile. Why? My voice broke, but Cosmo only laughed.
I am here to put an end to all this. This man is an affront to my honor. Honor! And must be destroyed.
That day at Utsunomiya Castle, Kazuma had warned us that he would return, but I never thought he would forsaken his clan and travel all the way to Ezo just to fight Hijikata-san.
I can make a new one with you as my bride.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm surprised to see you made it here, to the north. Impressive for a fake.
That was a little surprising. His tone was as derisive as usual, but his words were almost compliments. Backhanded, to be sure, but praise of a sort nonetheless. In some way, he recognized what Hijikata-san had been through.
Didn't think you'd come all the way to Ezo. If I bought it already, you would have wasted your time.
His face twisted into a crooked grin. No, you can't, Hijikata. You can't. Hijikata-san is hurt.
I know.
If he fought in his condition, he'd surely die. I stepped in front of Hijikata-san, between him and Kazuma, but he reached out an arm to stop me. Someone has contacted me on Discord.
Wasn't me.
Okay, then it's probably the state. The clan.
It's not the stage.
The clan. The clan.
Then it's the clan. Probably deciding, oh, hey, we figured out what we are.
I don't know. Blue was supposed to be on that last night or something.
And yet...
Boop. Boop.
Chizuru, stay out of this.
But... A gentle glance from Hijikata-san silenced me before I could finish.
If he's ready to give up everything he's got to fight me, then how can I call myself a samurai if I turn tail?
That's... Kazuma had left behind his clan and his life just for the sake of defending his honor.
And also to bang you, but mostly the honor thing.
Jesus Christ. Hijikata-san and Kazuma were different men in almost every way, but perhaps they shared a warrior's pride.
And the love of a woman. I am fighting for what I believe in, and I will win no matter what, because I'm going to live.
I saw the determination in his eyes, and knew that there was no point in arguing with him. I'd seen that look plenty of times before, and it meant his mind was made up. Even if I could convince him to run, then everything he'd stood for and lived for would be destroyed. No, I couldn't do that. Fine, I'll just watch. Boop.
Sorry, Chizuru.
I shook my head. Don't apologize. I believe in you. Kazuma let out a snort of laughter.
You want to live, huh? Furies are only imitations. The more you use those powers of yours, the shorter your life gets. How can a human beast that thirsts only for blood possibly compare to a full-blooded demon?
He caught a falling petal and stroked idly at it with one finger.
You are destined to simply wither and die. How could this end any other way? You throw your life away so easily, just like these cherry blossoms.
Oh, good.
Oh, good?
Oh, good. My heart skipped a beat. Beautiful as the blossoms were, death and decay claimed them all too quickly. Would death soon be here to claim Hijikata-san as well?
Yeah, but he's not going alone. I'm not throwing my life away.
His voice was calm.
There were just a lot of things I had to protect. The life of a samurai is not an easy one.
There was the hint of a smile playing about his lips. Kazuma looked carefully at Hijikata-san for several moments before he finally spoke.
Perhaps the name of a fury no longer suits you. The life you strive to live is not that of a fake.
There was no hint of contempt left in his words.
You are a demon. I rescind any times I called you false.
There was the slightest smile on Kazuma's face, but this was no sneer of contempt. It was a smile of satisfaction, of excitement. Perhaps Kazuma, just like the rest of us, at last understood just what sort of man Hijikata-san was. My respect for Hijikata-san drove me to help him in whatever way I could, but Cosmos would manifest in a different way. The exchange of swords.
If you are a demon, then you must have a demon's name. I name you Hakuoki.
Hakuoki, a demon name meaning demon of the fleeting blossom. The wind is deafening!
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it stopped.
Okay, good.
It seemed almost as if the name had been chosen long, long ago. So perfectly did it fit him. Perhaps I thought this was destiny.
Thanks, I guess. But I'm not doing this so you could call me a demon, you know.
His mouth quirked up in a smile as he slid his sword from its sheath. With a sigh, his body shivered and suddenly his hair was white.
Can't play long, though. That a problem? Heh. Not at all. I'll kill you with the first blow.
Cosmo nodded, his own sword sliding from its scabbard. I could not interfere, but I didn't need to. I believed Hijikata-san would win. The battle would be decided in a single moment of their first attack. The skill of each was so great that even the smallest mistake would mean death. Would luck decide their match? Ability? Emotion? They stood apart from one another, still as statues. A wind blew up, casting scores of petals into the air between the two combatants. In that instant, they both flipped forward. For a brief moment, their swords met. There was no give and take to this encounter, no block and parry. Everything that each man had went into that first deciding blow. Cosmo's sword passed within a hairbreadth of Hijikata-san's. But Hijikata-san's blade found its mark, burying itself deep in the demon's heart.
There's still something I've got to protect. I can't lose. Not even to a demon.
Hijikata-san's voice was quiet and strong. Even in the very act of taking another man's life, his eyes were strangely gentle.
If I can die at the blade of a samurai such as you.
Even with his heart skewered by Hijikata-san's blade, he could still talk. He put on a brave smile as he spoke.
Then I have no regrets. I have lived my life with honor, and I can die with the same.
His eyes were clear and free of hostility. If anything, he seemed at peace. To die in a duel against a foe he respected was a death he could accept with grace.
Hakuoki. Now you must live out what life you have left.
They were his last words. Jesus. Jesus. Sir, why?
Because it's funny.
Hijikata-san drew his sword out of Cosmo's body as it fell, and dropped the still bloody sword back into its scabbard. As the blade slid home, Hijikata-san's body returned to its human form.
Yeah, I will.
Then his body wavered, and he fell to his knees. Hijikata-san! I ran to his side. He had never compromised his principles, and now his rival was finally defeated.
In more ways than one, he was his rival.
And he had pushed his body to its limit. His strength was gone. Hijikata-san's long battle was finally coming to a close. Tears began to well up in my eyes. I looked up towards the sky to keep them from spilling out, and watched as the blossoms of the cherry trees dance across the heavens.
The final chapter.
Hijikata-san didn't reach Benton Fortress. Even with the reinforcements Hijikata-san had sent, the fortress couldn't hold against the Imperial Army and surrendered. Eventually they took Hakodate as well, and the army of the Republic of Ezo was forced to surrender. Just as spring came to Ezo, the war the Shinsengumi had fought for so long came to an end. I later heard that it had been Otori who convinced the army to surrender peacefully.
Probably for the best.
Better to live and see the future than die and be denied it. Just the sort of thing I expected from Otori-san. The Imperial Army had recognized Enomoto's skill and spared his life, sending him to prison instead of the executioner. Somehow, Shimada-san had survived the final fierce battle and escaped unscathed. When I asked what he intended to do, he laughed and said he'd probably open a school of swordsmanship in Kyo.
Huh.
Though we know he worked at a temple. Every time I see cherry blossoms bloom, I remember what had happened at Ezo. How many lives were lost, and how many patriots had fought and died for what they believed in. But perhaps most of all, I remember the time I spent with Hijikata-san. Here. There you go.
Yeah!
They're so beautiful. Pirouetting and dancing on each breeze of wind, the cherry petals brush against my skin like silk, each one bringing a tiny whiff of the smell of new life. Whenever I see the colors of spring, I remember that wonderful time. The time he spent by my side.
You really like cherry blossoms that much, huh?
He looked at me, his mouth twisted into a small grin. I probably looked rather silly, but I didn't feel embarrassed by it anymore.
Oh, good.
I like them because they remind me of you. He looked at me in serene contemplation for a moment, then let his grin spread across his face into a smile.
Well, I like them too. They remind me of you.
His voice, soft and quiet, throws my mind into chaos. I can feel my face flush. When he speaks to me like that, there's no hiding my feelings. I doubt I'll ever grow used to his voice. The very sound of it sets my heart to beating.
I've been worried about the end coming lately.
Suddenly his tone is serious.
I never get bored when I'm with you. Sometimes I wish I could live forever.
Oh. It was a wish that I secretly shared. As a Fury, Hijikata-san had spent his future in exchange for power in the present. How much he had spent we couldn't know. His life could end tomorrow. If he could live forever, then that fear of the unknown would disappear. But I knew that could never be.
That'd probably be an easy way to go. Just accept that I'm used up and wither away.
His voice was still calm and gentle, but his gaze had drifted somewhere far away.
But I don't want that. I'll fight to stay alive as long as I can.
As he finished, his eyes turned to me and his mouth curled up into a warm smile.
Oh.
I don't want us to be apart. I would stay and fight with him until the end was at last upon us, so that I could look death in the eye and say we'd made the most of what we had. I want to stay with you as long as I can. His smile twitched with a momentary smirk.
You cry so easily. I feel pretty... Oh, that was a hiccup. You cry so easily. I feel pretty bad if I left you behind.
Oh. He was right. Without my even noticing, tears had begun to roll down my cheeks. I blinked in surprise, but that hardly helped. Just when I thought I'd learned to put on a brave face for him.
He could still see through it.
Gomene, Hijikata-san. I didn't mean to make you worry.
And we had to take a drink.
Ah, fuck.
She said sorry.
Sorry. Green tea water. He grinned.
You're mine, right?
Hijikata-san. His words were short and to the point, but his voice was full of tenderness. If you're mine, he continued, then that means I'm responsible for you. I'm here to look out for you. I worry about you because I want to, so don't be blaming yourself.
And that's also why it's also my duty to wipe your tears. You never have to cry alone.
Then I looked up at him and smiled. You're mine too, right? All mine, every wonderful part of him. Then I'm responsible for you too. If you cry, I'll wipe your tears.
Good luck catching me crying.
He laughed!
Wait. Keep going. I want to see if I'm accurate. Okay, close enough. There's no beating you, is there?
Surrounded by cherry blossoms, we sat as springtime returned to the north. Next year, and the year after that, I wanted to watch spring unfold with him. I wanted more happy memories like this one. And I wanted the day that we would be separated to never come. You have earned a bronze trophy, Wolfson. Wolfson.
It should just show me as all of these right here. Except for Karu, but fuck that guy.
Except for Sen and Kimikiku.
No, except for Karu, fuck that guy.
Okay, the ending is Aika. Okay. Design Factory. PlayStation 3 version. Idea Factory. Original version. They have to preface. Yone Kazuki was the original artist. Okay. Nizue. Carrot House, there it is.
Yeah. Gideon Entertainment.
Oh. Wait, did they credit Studio Dean? Hold on. Yes, it's not Idea Factory that localized this game the first time. It's Axis. Yay!
Yeah.
Did this open up something? Custom theme will now appear in the menu.
You.
Oh, there's a menu.
There's a one menu.
Alright, let's see. Stories? What is this, actually?
Shinshin Gumi Adventures 1, that's new.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh. April 1864, the protagonist has been living with the Shinsengumi for 3 months when members of the Watch are alerted to her presence so that they could begin their search for Kodo.
Oh, so this is how you were able to get the good and bad, or the bad endings in Edo Blossom.
Eh?
Start the story from this chapter.
Oh. What? Hold on.
So you can literally just start it from a certain point?
I mean, that's what these are for, I'm assuming? I feel like this is... Wait, hold on. April 1864. I don't think anything happens in April. Does it? No, because February is the thing with Sanan. And then we kind of skip ahead to Ikeda. Hold on, I want to see the other thing.
Yeah.
Ephemer. Budding.
Don't worry, we'll get it there.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, now for this last menu. Or can you... Okay, you can. X is what it is.
Oh.
Hijikata.
I want to go here. I want to press the button because I don't know what this this is.
Okay.
I want to see what this is. Let's start from here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure.
We don't have experience with this version of the game. It's only the remix, folks.
Yeah.
Run, and I will kill you. Do you understand?
His sword point was at my throat, his gaze going right through me. I still remember the feeling of death just inches away and how I shivered. The moonlight shone on his face, and the only thought I could muster was that he looked beautiful. It felt like he was a cherry blossom blooming out of season.
And it comes back full circle.
January 1864. The night I met them, the moon was huge and bright. Yeah, no, this is a completely different thing.
Okay.
I'd come to Kyo looking for my father at a time when the city was in political upheaval. A good number of patriots were arguing over who they should follow, the emperor and his imperial court or the shogun and the shogunate. The regular civilians of the city were also terrified of the cruel men of the Shinsengumi, who even samurai thought twice about crossing. That night, in a dark alley I blindly ran into, I stumbled upon a tiny bit of their secret. They took me into custody then, and I had no choice but to prepare myself for a premature end. Will they think it's necessary to kill me to keep my mouth shut?
Yes.
I was sure my fate was to soon end in death, when an unexpected connection came to light. The Shinsengumi had been working with my father, Kodo Yukimura, a Dutch-educated doctor who specialized in Western medicine. They were also searching for him, just like I had been attempting to do. Our goals were the same. The Shinsengumi ultimately decided to keep me close at hand in hopes that I could help them find him. However, since I'd accidentally uncovered things they wanted hidden, I was an unexpected variable and a threat. There was no guarantee that I'd actually prove useful, and I held no loyalties to them, so I could end up betraying them. They placed me under what amounted to house arrest in their headquarters, and limited the areas I was allowed to explore. Oh, hi, John. Hello, welcome.
Hi, welcome back.
Well, alright, I'm gonna drink more of this green tea water.
I got some Hawaiian punch to drink. Nice and fruity.
Oh, I got to check delivery.
Yay!
Estimated date of arrival at the post office, January 1st. The other thing still says the 9th. This one doesn't know. Alright. Da, 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 da. Is my father safe, wherever he is? I wonder if I'll ever see him again. Now that I've been more or less captured by this group of ruthless men, what would happen to me? Days passed agonizingly slowly. Each morning increased my impatience until I couldn't take it any longer. April 1864. Then one day, my relationship with the men hit a turning point. What occurred was really nothing much of note, but the noose I felt constantly around my neck subsequently seemed a little looser afterward. This is what happened that day. What are we getting ourselves into?
That's a good question. Shinsengumi Adventures Part 1.
Oh, you got a VR headset? Sweet.
Oh, cool.
It felt as if I was being swallowed by an impenetrable darkness. Somewhere in my mind, I knew that this was just a nightmare.
Someone get me through this nightmare.
Even so, the fear was overwhelming. I wanted to run, but the darkness was pulling me under. Help me! All I wanted was to go back to my simple, ordinary life. But I could see no hands extended. No one wanted to help me. I was drowning in despair, my consciousness fading.
Oh, I think there were some that wanted to help you, just they couldn't because, we just romanced them.
But then...
Chizuru? I don't know who it is.
I don't know either. We got no voice. Wait a minute.
Who do you think it is?
Oh, no, I can't. No, never mind. Wait. I'm gonna guess... Soji.
Chizuru?
Ah, fuck off. The voice called out. I reached out in the direction of the light, trying to wake myself up from the dream. The bright morning light made me dizzy. I sighed, relieved that I managed to escape the dark terror of my dream. A voice spoke up next to my ear.
Chizuru?
That is fucking great! Oh, I know, okay.
Chizuru?
Do you have to do it? Do you have to do it with that voice?
Yes, I do.
Oh my... It sounded annoyed and my wits scrambled to clear. As my eyes finally adjusted to the light, I could see what was directly in front of me.
Chizuru?
Oh. A man with a small grin dancing on his lips was leaning over and staring into my face. That smile was more than a little sharp. My heart started pounding rapidly as if my body sensed danger.
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger!
Hey, I guess you're conscious now, more or less. Could you hurry this along?
He was very blunt, but I got the feeling I was like a pointless duty he couldn't wait to finish. He was obviously irritated with me, but my head was still having trouble focusing on details. My blank look only served to make him grow more annoyed.
You don't understand what you've gotten yourself into, do you? You're getting free room and board, you know, so you can't. So can't you at least wake up on time?
I stared unblinkingly at his face, so close to mine. You're Okita-san, right?
You should know this by now, but yeah, I am Soji Okita. Did you fall on your head last night? You know, I'm kind of on a schedule here. Would you just snap out of it?
Oh, that's right. He was Soji Okita, captain of the 1st Division. The impression I got of him from that first night hadn't changed one bit since then. He frightened me. His eyes were always cold, but he laughs as if he's enjoying himself, even when discussing taking someone's life. And this man was currently holding me in his gaze and grumbling at me bitterly.
Huh. You got cooking duty today. If you don't get up and get moving, we won't make it in time for breakfast. If that happens, well, I'm a forgiving soul, but some of the more narrow-minded people here will be furious.
I jumped out of
sound effect.
I jumped out of bed completely awake now.
Shit! Why, good morning there, Chizuru-chan. Who knew you were so bad at waking up?
Oh, I'm really sorry. Drink.
Yep, drink.
Drink. Yeah. Back to the floor with you. That's where the water bottle lives. On the floor.
Well, mine gets to stay up on the desk because mine is actually nice and tidy in comparison.
My ears burned. How could I have slept so late? And I bowed deeply in apology as we moved to exit the room. It seemed like all I ever did was cause trouble for everyone.
Don't feel bad about it. Not like you can change the fact that you already caused me a lot of hassle. Soji!
I'm sorry. Oh god.
Ben!
Okay, you're staying up here with me, buddy. His words were definitely harsh, but I couldn't refute them, so I just apologized a second time. He stopped in his tracks and sighed, then turned his head to look back at me.
You're already a burden, so you could at least be a little useful around here. Why should we let you stay if you're just gonna get in the way all the time? Kinda silly if you ask me.
He was right. They let me live only because they decided that I was valuable in the search for my father. If they suddenly deemed me unnecessary, I was sure they'd kill me without even batting an eye.
I'm heading to the kitchen ahead of you, so hurry up and get ready.
Right, I'll come as soon as I can. The second he left the room, I began dressing in haste. I need to hurry so I can help make breakfast for everyone.
Going on.
What?
With the music of Flight of the Bumblebees playing as well.
I wanted to curl up into a little ball and berate myself for oversleeping, but I really didn't have the time. I had to make more of an effort to be useful around here, so I didn't do something so foolish again. Whoosh! To the kitchen! I'm sorry for being late, goddammit!
God damn it!
Actually, if we continue, I need to go get water.
You're out of tea?
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Alright, the BNB is gonna be right here. I'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back, chat.
Hello.
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 All right.
Continuing on.
Yes, continuing.
I gotta hold my water bottle. Hold up. I entered the kitchen as quickly as I could, making sure to watch the dust didn't kick up from my nearly panicked dash. Inside was Okita-san and...
Hey. Ikimura, please. What does he say here?
What?
Fix.
Hold on. Can you speak for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to get rid of this noise because it's not helping. It's not making it come through. So let me read this. A man stood tying back his kimono sleeves as he stared at the pot with a serious expression. Thank you, mate! He was Hajime Saito, captain of the 3rd Division. He didn't even glance up as he quietly rebuked me. We need the sound effect to go away. Alright, hold on. Let me get through this. There's only one way to do this. Okay.
Okay, so can we change that?
I'm gonna do this instead. We're just gonna go like this. Alright.
I see it.
Yeah, hold on.
Inside was Okita and...
I gotta drink my water, though, first.
Oh, right.
I don't know when it's getting here, but it's on the move, I guess.
Like the first or second, so...
Inside was Okita and...
Yukimura, don't shout.
A man stood tying back his kimono sleeves as he stared at the pot with a serious expression. He was Hajime Saito, captain of the 3rd Division. He didn't even glance up as he quietly rebuked me.
Many of our warriors have rounds that don't end until it is nearly dawn. I'd like to let them sleep as long as possible before they must start the day.
I didn't realize. I'm sorry if I caused any trouble.
We just drank!
Ah!
There's no need for you to apologize. It would be best if you were more careful in the future, but there was no trouble.
But it was my job to prepare breakfast this morning and I overslept.
Saito pulled his contemplative gaze from the pot to look at me, an indifferent expression on his face.
Saito-san?
Saito-san.
You appear to be mistaken. Your actions this morning make no difference to us.
Huh?
Did you believe we would be unable to make the meal without your assistance? That is incorrect. Warriors must be skilled in preparing their own food. The only thing we require from you is your help in finding your father, Kodo-san.
So then, according to them, I was pretty much just a useless burden they'd had to put up with until we began searching for my father. I'm sure he meant to console me, but instead his words just hurt even more. The night I stumbled upon the Shinsengumi secrets, Saito-san was completely indifferent. He would never take pity on me for any reason, and willingly draw his sword on me whenever he was ordered to.
I'm sorry.
And take a drink.
Yup. Guilt welled up inside. I could only apologize for being there and making them take care of me, even though they didn't want to do such a thing in the first place.
But, I'd still like to help out if that's okay. I want to be useful somehow if I can. I don't want to die.
Saito-san undid the tie holding back his sleeves and finally focused on all of his attention on me.
Did someone tell you that if you didn't contribute in some manner, that we would be forced to kill you? That you were required to do work?
Yes.
I give a small nod and Saito-san sighed heavily.
Soji, don't feed her lies. We need her to find Kodo Yukimura. We can't kill her for oversleeping.
Then...
Okita-san stood up from his task of checking the level of the fire and turned towards Saito-san.
Well, I know that. I mean, if we could kill her for sleeping in while the rest of us can't, I mean, I would have done it already. Just figured if she was going to mooch off us, she might as well do something for it. Make herself useful to us at least. It is not in your position to determine these things. Go add wood to the fire. Yeah.
The men went back to swiftly making breakfast while I stood there gaping.
Tuh!
I wasn't sure I really trusted either one of them, and perhaps because of that, their words confused me. I felt like they were having fun at my expense when I was taking what they said to heart.
So, is there something I can help you with here?
Could you finish preparing the soup? You know where the miso is stored, correct?
I've been put in charge of making food a few times already, so I knew my way around fairly well. My nerves settled once I was given a task to do, and I took the cue from the others and quickly got to work. How do you calm a Chizuru? Give her something to do.
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
'Cause it's funny.
Okay.
I think it's ready.
The leaders and captains of the Shinsengumi were all from Edo like me. I wasn't sure what kind of flavoring and spices people use in Kyo, but there hadn't been any complaints about the way I made the dishes so far. I was secretly pleased about that, so I didn't really mind being placed on food duty.
Alright, we don't need to do anything else for breakfast. As soon as you finish arranging the trays, take them over to the others in the hall.
Right.
I stepped carefully out of the kitchen, keeping an eye on the soup so it wouldn't spill. Only the leaders of the Shinsengumi would be eating in the hall at this time. Because the regular warriors had no idea about the real reason I was there, I had to take my meals with the leaders. It wasn't the most pleasant of atmospheres, but it was better than trying not to reveal myself to the others. It was with those thoughts running through my head that I walked down the hallway. Boop.
What?
Almost before I noticed the sliding door next to me had opened, suddenly someone popped into my line of sight.
You're next.
I bumped into the person entering the hallway, and the tray I'd held carefully rattled from the force of contact and leapt out of my hands.
Oh no!
I couldn't let anything happen to the food. I dove for the dishes, but I couldn't keep my balance. I wobbled. No, I'm going to fall!
No!
I could just see it, the dishes shattering into millions of pieces, and the food thrown everywhere. I would, of course, fall square on top of the mess. I closed my eyes, afraid to see how it'd turn out.
Oh, damn it, that's hot!
Huh?
Instead of breaking dishes, I heard a voice I recognized. And the pain I expected didn't happen, even when I continued to wait anxiously. I cracked open an eye to look.
Man, that was a close call, Chizuru. Yes. Did I startle you?
No.
It took me a few seconds to gather my scrambled wits and process what exactly had just happened. The man I bumped into was Sanosuke Harada, captain of the 10th Division. He'd managed to grab onto me in the tray before I toppled, and his arms held me securely.
think maybe you could stand on your own? The position is kind of hard for me, and I feel like I might sprain something.
Oh, yes, of course.
I nodded automatically. I didn't feel like I was about to fall over, though, with my arms wrapped with its arms wrapped around me. No strain showed on his face at all. He caught me with ease, regardless of his request, and I couldn't help but be impressed. I quickly got my feet under me and hurried to check the damage on the food on the tray. I can't read.
I lost the vegetables and the soup.
Hey, don't worry, Chisudu.
That's not Kura.
Hey, don't worry, Chisudu. Vegetables are safe.
What?
But the soup's done for, I'm afraid. Most of it ended up on me, but the rest of it's all over the floor. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
The man laughing to himself over his predicament was Senpachi Nagakura, captain of the 2nd Division. Apparently he'd managed to catch the plate that flew off the tray, but the soup...
Thank you so much.
Take a drink.
Many sippies.
Yes.
But, did you burn yourself at all? You're all wet.
Dad, don't worry about it. That came flying right at me. These guys would never let me live it down if I could have catch something like that. Just be a little more careful next time when you walk down the hallway. Don't zone out when you're carrying hot food, you know? Hey, you don't need to scold her. It's not her fault this happened. We ran into each other because I was an idiot and rushed out of the door without even looking.
No, that's... If only I'd paid attention and dodged you, then this wouldn't have happened. And you had to come and save me after all that. If you hadn't stopped me from falling, the mess in the hallway would have been so much worse.
You're a good girl. You're a good girl, Chisudu. Chisudu-chan?
I tensed, assuming he was teasing me, but he grinned as if he was impressed.
Alright, I decided. Because you so graciously tried to take the blame, I'll clean out the hallway for you.
What?
You sound surprised. I had to head over to the well and clean myself off before I start smelling like miso soup. May as well rinse out the cloth while I'm here and clean the floor, right? I can do it with my eyes closed.
His offer really would help me out. I still had so much to do, but I wasn't sure I should let him do it. I was still considering when Harada-san chuckled and nudged me gently.
Don't think so hard. You're in charge of breakfast for all of us, right? Stop wasting time here and with this and go take care of everything.
But...
Oh, and that tray you're carrying, go ahead and put it where I sit. You didn't lose everything off the tray, but it does look kind of sloppy, right? Since it was my fault, I'll eat it.
Are you sure? You don't mind?
Cut out the tiptoeing around us. We're not demons. Even if we do have a commander who acts like one. As long as you behave and do what we say, we're not going to jump down your throat. Being stuck living here with a bunch of guys. It can't be fun. But even if we don't say it, we're all really happy that there's a cute girl staying here at our headquarters.
Okay.
Sometimes Nagakura-san would get a smile on his face that didn't reach his eyes. Oh. He had that smile now. I wasn't sure what to think. I started to tense up, but suddenly Harada-san laughed.
Pretty sure that's just you and Heisuke. Hey, now, don't forget to put yourself on that list, Sano. Girls twist you around their little finger.
Harada-san and Nagakura-san were kind and they always seemed to be looking out for me, but I still wasn't sure I could trust them. Me being here was making things complicated for everyone. Whatever I did, I always ended up being a burden.
Thank you for your help.
Take a drink.
Yep. I feel like in these earlier chapters, Chizuru says thank you and sorry much, much more.
Yeah, she really comes out of her shell.
Yeah. And then further down the line, like, maybe Toba Fushimi, he gets less and less and less and less.
Yeah, like I said, she comes out of her shell.
I'm going to finish preparing everything for breakfast.
I bowed politely to them, even though they were caught up in arguing with each other, and continued to argue with each other?
Yeah, I guess.
And continued to the hall where we were to have our meal.
I think I finally got everything.
After numerous trips back and forth, I managed to place all the food correctly.
I'm so glad I got this done before everyone came over to eat. Actually, I finished a little early. It's not time yet. What should I do now?
I was grasping at straws trying to come up with something when suddenly...
Ohio, Mas Yukimura-kun. Thank you for putting all... Domo for all your hard work preparing our breakfast.
You can't read.
No, you're not the only one.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
The unassuming man who offered me the quiet praise was Keisuke-san, the colonel of the Shinsengumi. From previous encounters with him, I determined that he was a very smart man, but I couldn't help but be nervous around him.
Regardless of what the others say, you are the Shinsengumi's guest here. And even though that's true, we still give you chores to do as if you're hired help. I know we're short on men right now, but that's no excuse. I apologize for making you do these menial tasks.
Menial.
Menial tasks?
I'm pretty sure it's menial.
I thought it was menial.
I think it's menial. I could be wrong. You're looking it up, aren't you?
Menial, yeah. Okay. Menial.
Yay!
No, that's alright. It's not like they're hard to do, and I get uneasy if I don't have something to work on.
See? Domo, Yukimura-kun. It's a great relief to hear you say that. At times like this, I should show my gratitude instead of offering empty words, but unfortunately, I'm unable to assist you with carrying the trays.
Oh, no, that's,
Sanan-san had gotten gravely injured in an altercation a few months ago, and subsequently lost all feeling in his left arm. Since I wasn't a warrior, there was no way I could comprehend what he was going through. His mood had been so bleak lately that the atmosphere around him seemed to darken when he spoke derisively about himself, and anyone who talked to him became depressed. Oof.
But you're a colonel, right? You're too important to be doing things like
Colonel. That's just a name they call me now. I can't even hold a sword anymore. Why am I even here with the Shinsengumi if I can't do that?
Sanan-san.
His voice was full of pain and self-loathing. The sound was like a dagger to my heart. I was just an outsider. I didn't even fight like the others. I had no right to say anything, but I truly wish he'd overcome this and cheer up. Kind of a foolish thought for me to have, since there was no way I'd understand the pain he was in. But I wanted to see him happy.
Okay. Ohio gozaimasu to both of you.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
His peaceful voice immediately soothed me. This man was Genzaburo Inoue, captain of the 6th Division. I could tell he was sincere in everything he did, and the intimidating aura I felt around the others wasn't present with him. Unless you get him very mad. Then it comes out.
It's time to eat breakfast, but where is everyone? We're the only ones here. Weren't you doing all the morning train? Weren't you all doing morning training together? It is what's usually done at this time. I don't need to frequent the training room any longer, so I am unsure as to who didn't show up, but...
I never knew when San-San's words would have bite behind them, but this time they were particularly sharp. He was very nearly snapping at the other man. Inoue-san paused, looking troubled, but it was only a moment before he continued speaking.
Toto was the only one who didn't show up today. He had a graveyard shift last night. Nakakura-san and Harada-san both finished early and headed off. They were supposed to have returned to the main building, but I haven't seen them.
Oh, I saw them. They were cleaning the hallway just a little bit ago. I last saw Okuta-san and Sato-san in the kitchen, so they're probably still there. Should I go call them?
He crossed his arms and thought, but before he could make a decision...
Ha! Awesome! Breakfast is all ready. Let's go eat, guys!
Nakakura-san poked his head around the entrance and shouted when he saw the food all set up. Harada-san trailed after him, nodding to me and chuckling.
We finished cleaning up the mess in the hallway, Chisudu, so don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Drink!
Ah!
Anyways, then he glanced over at me and his face turned apologetic.
I'm really sorry to trouble you, but could you go and check up on Heisuke for me?
Of course.
Since you'll be out of the way that way, would you also see what's keeping Hijikata-san? I believe he had to stay up late last night taking care of some paperwork.
As always.
As always.
Okay.
I wasn't sure I wanted this particular job. I nodded acceptance, and with an uneasy feeling running up my spine, I left the hall. I know exactly what CGs are coming up. I know exactly. My guilty conscience wouldn't let me say no whenever people asked me to do something for them, but this time I kind of regretted saying yes so quickly. To voluntarily approach Hijikata-san's room was something very few of the men of the Shinsengumi dared to do.
Ha!
Maybe I should start with checking on Heisuke-kun first.
Perhaps Hijikata-san would emerge from his room on his own in the meantime. Holding on to that one small hope, I turned and headed towards Heisuke-kun's room.
Heisuke-kun, are you there? Heisuke-kun, I'm coming in. It's time for
I slid the door open and blinked.
Oh my god!
There you go.
Ah!
He's a sleepy boy.
Yes, he is.
Anyway. Sleepy boy.
Heisuke-kun?
There he was, sound asleep and completely wrapped around his futon, hair and clothing askew. He looked so happy that I didn't want to wake him, but I knew I had to.
Heisuke-kun, you need to wake up. It's time for breakfast.
This was Heisuke Todo, captain of the 8th Division. His face may have looked innocent, but he'd been given the title of captain for a reason. He was a really friendly guy, and even though he appeared to be young, he was still older than me. His skill with a sword was inspiring, especially at his age. He's literally the same age as Saito and Okita, by the way.
It's time to get up. Everyone's waiting for you.
Shut up. I'm sleepy. Leave me alone.
But you can't stay in bed.
I'm just tired from being out all night on my rounds. Can't you just let me sleep? Just for today?
I know you have to be really tired right now, but it's morning and...
He finally looked up at me a little blearily, a frown creasing his forehead.
Jeez, it is.
Hi?
This is my room, right? Why are you here?
Inoue-san remembered you had the late shift, so he asked me to check up on you. You better hurry or Nagakura-san and Harada-san will take advantage of you being gone and steal your breakfast.
And that's all the motivation he needs. Oh!
Eh?
Oh, yeah!
He seemed to be processing that, still not fully awake, as he slowly got out of his bed.
Yeah. It's breakfast already, huh? I feel like I just fell asleep.
It's only been a few hours since sunrise. You'd probably feel better if you could sleep in a while longer, but...
Yeah, I know. If I don't get up, Hijikata will come storming in here and nagging at me like he's my mom.
The first time I met him, he easily agreed with the consensus that I should be killed. I'd come to the conclusion that he must not take life very seriously.
Nope.
Instead of being frightened of him, his bright and perpetually happy personality always cheered me up.
Okay, I'm up. You can head back to the common room. I'll follow you as soon as I'm done changing. No, Heisuke, don't change. We like you the way you are.
Got it.
I nodded and turned to head out when I heard Heisuke call out to me.
Almost forgot. I want Chizuru. Thanks for waking me.
Ohayou gozaimasu. I didn't mind doing it. Be sure to make it to breakfast before it gets cold, okay? Well, you know, if it's still there.
No, don't. Yeah, you bet I'm hurrying. Now that I'm awake, I'm super hungry. If Shin swipes my food, that day's gonna go downhill fast. I won't be responsible for my actions.
Heisuke, no!
Heisuke, yes.
On days that Hijikata-san was around, everyone at least tried to behave. But when he was out, mealtime became a dangerous battlefield over food. Recalling the last time it happened brought a smile to my face as I left Heisuke-kun's room.
And now Hijikata-san's the only one left.
It wasn't nerves I was feeling right now, but the first tendrils of fear creeping down my spine. I approached his door with great trepidation.
Hijikata-san? Hijikata-san?
I dared to raise my voice to call out to him, but there was still no reply.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not here. Though perhaps he just didn't hear me?
I debated with myself briefly before shakily reaching out and touching my fingertips on the sliding door. If his room was empty, I'd be completely fine with that. Happy, even.
He was getting dressed.
My body froze. I was not seeing what I expected. Not at all.
Oh boy.
I felt like I was witnessing something incredibly rare and somehow private. He must not have heard me call out to him from the other side of the door. If he had, he wouldn't have looked as surprised as he was right now.
What do you want?
I was jolted out of my stupor by his harsh tone, and I jumped. I fumbled to get an answer out.
It's not a rush, is it?
Well, it was already breakfast time. The food was getting cold, so I guess I was in a rush, but... He glared at me as my brain scrambled to come up with an answer, then sighed.
I'm asking if it's something important that you can't wait until I've finished.
No, it's not.
Then stop talking. If you didn't plan to stare at men changing, then close the door and wait in the hallway.
Hi!
I nearly tripped over my own feet to get outside as quickly as possible. Somehow my brain had been so out of it that I hadn't grasped that he'd been in the middle of changing clothes.
What should I do? He must think I'm a horrible person with no manners.
I couldn't deny that I had clearly been gawking at all of his exposed skin. Jesus. It wasn't as if I did it on purpose. I'd just been stunned, frozen really. But I was sure it must have only appeared creepy to him.
Of course, Hijikata-san does have a surprisingly handsome look about his face. I didn't mean to stare. He is very attractive, but...
Jesus! What the hell kind of excuse is that? You hit your head recently?
I spun around at his voice to find him fully dressed and clearly in a bad mood.
When is he not in a bad mood?
He continued questioning me, his tone icy.
So, why have you come all the way to my room? Spit it out!
Right. It was time for everyone to gather for breakfast, and, I came here to get you.
Jeez, dude. Don't tell me you came here voluntarily.
What? Hi.
Who set you up for this?
Sanan-san asked me if I would. He mentioned that you had been up late working last night and he wanted to make sure you were okay. He seemed worried about you.
He's doing this to annoy me and no other reason. Having fun at your expense. Sending a civilian on a mission to check up on the demon.
You think so?
I didn't know what to think. It was true that I was nervous to approach him alone, as he was notorious for being harsh and strict. This frightening man was Toshizo Hijikata, commander of the Shinsengumi. He had the power of life and death over all warriors under his command. A word, and they died.
Oh, hey, Toshi and Yukimura-kun. Don't normally see the two of you together like this.
He must not have sensed the weird vibe between us, or wasn't bothered by it as he came down the hallway.
Kondo-san, ohayou gozaimasu.
Aye, the same to you. You guys are just standing here. Did something happen? could say the same about you. What are you doing? It's time for breakfast and you're not in there already? Oh, well, actually, it's a really nice day today, so I felt like going for a walk. After morning training ended, I just started walking around outside headquarters. It was very refreshing.
This man with a boisterous laugh and infectious smile was Isami Kondo, chief of the Shinsengumi. He was incredibly warm-hearted. As soon as he learned of my predicament and the reason I was in Kyo, he rushed to make sure I was taken care of. His sympathy was touching.
Ah.
This aspect of him, his kind and generous nature, was likely the reason why so many people wanted to work under him. He drew people to him.
Did I say that? Did I stay out too late? I lost track of time for a while, so I rushed back here. I hope I didn't cause any trouble. Yeah, I hope I didn't trouble anyone.
You got there at the end.
Just like you to wander off. You're fine. Let's just head over there now.
Wasting no more words, Hijikata-san turned his back to us and started down the hallway. Kondo-san moved to follow him when suddenly he stopped and looked over at me.
Hey, Yukimura-kun. Did I recall correctly that you were in charge of breakfast today?
Hi, I was.
Ah, excellent. Now I'm looking forward to breakfast even more. Everything you cook tastes like home. I can tell you put your heart into it.
He grinned at me, clearly pleased with how I prepared food.
Hey.
It was such a little thing, nothing to get a big head about, but it felt like he wasn't saying it just to be nice. His praise made me happy.
I'm glad that you come to stay with us. I feel lucky that I get to eat your delicious food. We are also in an ad break.
Wonderful.
Oh no, it's no trouble.
Oh god! I just read the line, I'm sorry. Did you?
Some of the guys have no idea how to season correctly, and Soji is just the worst, don't you think?
His food is rather, bold.
That's one way to put it. That was a yawn. Toshi's cooking is even worse. He's not allowed in the kitchen anymore, but man, the porridge he used to make back in the day was... Ugh. Hey, Kondo, shut it!
Hijikata-san's command reverberated the walls, and Kondo-san shut up from his conspiratorial bend near my ear. So, Soji cannot season to save his fucking life. And Hijikata banned from the kitchen.
I'm sure Hijikata is perfectly capable of burning water.
Oh god.
Oh, that's right. Everyone's waiting on us. We must hurry.
I watched his back as he ran down the hallway, and I couldn't help giggling. I'm glad you've come to stay with us. Even if he was really just referring to the food, his kind words warmed my heart and pushed my worries away.
Finally! What took you so long, Kondo-san? What, did you walk all the way to the other end of Kyo and back? Sorry about that. I didn't get very far, but on my walk I spotted a dandelion growing in by the street. I got so caught up in the fact that I'd seen proof that spring had come that I lost track of time.
He scratched his neck and chuckled awkwardly. All around him, the men were grinning wryly.
Damn it! How I'm not surprised. You can make it up to us by leading everyone in for breakfast before the food gets cold. Of course. All right, everyone. Enjoy this delicious food and put your all into working hard for another day.
With Kondo-san's cheerful little speech ended, breakfast finally started.
Yeah. By the way, Colonel Salmon, heard that I made you worry unnecessarily this morning. But it was truly not unnecessary. Of course, I, as a dedicated member of the Shinsengumi, would be concerned about our commander who has had difficulties waking up in the morning.
Ichikata-san grinned wolfishly while Sana-san's glasses glinted in the light, hiding his eyes. I could almost see sparks flying between them. Oh, God! Some people would say that this was just the way they showed their friendship, but I wanted no part of it.
Oh! Chizuru, did Soji prepare the vegetables?
I guess he did half?
I'd go as far as boiling them and then put the soy sauce on, but then Hajime tasted one and claimed that I made it too salty. It's not good for you, he said, and he grabbed them from me and washed it all off. I only did what I must. The body cannot process an excess amount of salt.
Again! Haruka's claim of Soji's food being salty?
But you went too far. These taste like nothing. Keep your voice down, please. You're frightening Yukimura-kun. Why did that sound muffled?
I don't know. So much had happened already this morning, and now this. I don't know if I had the energy to make it through the rest of the day, let alone the weeks after this. But I couldn't leave. I had no choice but to live here with the Shinsengumi. When I thought about what could happen in the future, it only drove me crazy with worry, so I decided to quietly eat my meal and not think about it. I had to do my best and hope things worked out. Right, this is nothing. I can do it. I'll head off now. I finished clearing breakfast and made sure the kitchen was clean. All I had to do now was be on standby until lunch. This was how my days usually passed.
Oh, Yukimura-kun, I'm sorry to trouble you, but would you mind staying behind for a little while?
Huh? But...
Yes, you are correct. The captains, Hichikata-san and I, usually have our meetings with Kondo here after breakfast.
Wouldn't it be a problem if I was here during that time? I might hear something I shouldn't.
It will be fine for today. In fact, our discussion will be about you.
What?
Oops.
Quack! During the meeting yesterday, we decided to tell some of the men on the watch about you.
The watch?
The members of the watch will be the ones who are actually looking out for information about your father, Kodo Yukimura. Before we put all of our resources and men into the search, we need to introduce you to them.
Oh, I see. Thank you very much.
And drink, everybody.
Take a drink. It wasn't much, a small step at most, but after this we'd be able to start searching for my father. I felt hope bubbling up in my chest and couldn't help but smile.
I'm still completely against this. It'll cause more trouble than it's worth. Like the medicine, we'd have to explain the whole mess and why we kept that information from the other men. He has a point, but at the same time...
Fuck you, Okuta.
Soji, The commander trusts both Yamazaki-san and Shimada-san with the Shinsengumi secrets. Even if we didn't inform them about her now, if we continue searching for Kodo, we'll have to tell them at some point. We can't keep prolonging it.
Okuta-san turned his head away, still unconvinced. I uncomfortably shifted my weight, unsure of what to say. I felt like if I spoke up, I'd just make things worse.
Well, we shouldn't waste a good opportunity. No sense in drawing it out.
A bark of laughter was a bit too bright to be sincere. He was likely trying to diffuse the tension.
I mean, she's been here at headquarters for 3 months, right? It's time to make a move. Hey, you're making it sound like all we did was slack off until now.
He quickly looked at me, an earnest expression on his face.
Just so you know, Chizuru, us captains have been investigating places around Kyo for Kodo, too. We haven't been sitting on our asses this whole time.
You have?
And it never got brought up, in my hearing anyway. So I'd assumed that nothing had been done since I came to stay with them. To hear that they had been looking...
Finding Kodo-san sooner rather than later would be just for your benefit. For the Shinsengumi, it'd help us out a lot if we located them quickly.
Thank you, all of you, for looking for my father.
And take another drink. God damn it.
I realized that I never truly thanked them for doing all of this for me, so I quickly bowed my head and blurted out the words.
You shouldn't be thanking us. After all, we want to find him for our own reasons, too.
He scratched his nose but gave me a warm smile. Nagakura-san finally spoke up, his eyes narrowed and his voice cool.
I'm with Soji on this one. Why should we tell more people about a girl when we don't even know why we're going to get when we don't even know when we're going to get rid of her? We have no choice but to bring her to headquarters after she found out about our secret, but we had to kill her because she got in the way. Say something like that to our men and morale will drop like a stone. Bunch of the guys are soft on women.
Does that include you, Nagakura?
Maybe. I mean, we'd have to say she went back home, even if circumstances forces us to finish her off.
It was true. The less people knew about me and the Shinsengumi secret, the better. It still hurt to hear that they were anticipating my death at their hands and preparing for the explanations afterwards.
But we all did agree that we'd have to deal with that situation down the road, so why bitch and moan about it now? It's a done deal. Guess you're right. I understand why we're doing it, but that doesn't mean I'm happy about it. Excuse me? Excuse me?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine on this one. A voice I didn't recognize spoke up from the other side of the door. It must have been one of the men from the watch the others told me were coming.
Shimada-san, Shimada and Yamazaki reporting as requested. Enter.
Two warriors walked into the room, and when they spotted me, they bowed in greeting.
I am Kai Shimada, member of the Watch. Nice to meet you.
The first man to speak was large and burly. Even though his size should have been intimidating, he looked very kind.
He's like a big teddy bear.
Yes, he is.
And I am Susumu Yamazaki.
His gaze was sharp and piercing as he quickly looked me over, his expression unreadable. I had no doubt that this man was incredibly perceptive, and didn't miss a thing.
I'm sure you've already heard, but your new mission is to locate a doctor by the name of Kodo Yukimura. He's been trained in Western medicine.
Kondo-san calmly laid out all the facts for the two men, his voice smooth and authoritative.
We put out inquiries regarding his whereabouts, but we've not had any success as of late. We can't confirm it, but the lack of information suggests some sort of organization is involved in the cover-up. I assume, then, that the information about Kodo-san won't be falling into our laps? Right. He could have been kidnapped or been covering his tracks on his own. Best guess, he's in hiding. Tread lightly. We don't know what's going on with him, so who knows who's watching.
Shimada-san and Yamazaki-san both nodded.
Very well. Let's get to the reason we're all gathered here. We recently acquired a trump card to assist us in finding information on Kodo-san. Yukimura-kun, can you explain to them how you are connected to all this? Only a few words, please.
He smiled encouragingly at me. I cleared my throat nervously and spoke.
Hello. My name is Chizuru Yukimura. My father is Kodo Yukimura.
Oh!
Neither man said anything, but their surprise was nearly palpable. I was suddenly the focus of their complete attention. The urge to squirm under their scrutiny was strong, but I didn't dare move.
This is top secret, but the Shinsengumi is searching for Kodo-san in connection to some confidential orders we received from the government.
Perhaps I wasn't supposed to be there. I was afraid that hearing anything about the secret would get me in trouble because they had expressly forbidden me from asking any questions. But Kondo-san continued speaking, making no motion to have me leave the room.
We have hidden both her identity and gender to keep important information from falling into the wrong hands or ears. No one else must know. Understood, Chief. Does she know the full details of our orders?
Hijikata-san brusquely shook his head, his eyes narrowed, and the commanding tone of his position entered his voice.
She is not one of us, nor does she work for the shogunate. She doesn't need to know.
At the end of it all, I was still just a temporary guest at headquarters until we learned information about my father. With the watch joining in on the search, it was possible that they would finally find something to lead us to him. As usual, they didn't really need me there. I couldn't even help, confined as I was to headquarters. All I could do was sit, wait, and feel increasingly guilty.
I'm not worried, but I assume since Hijikata-san trusts you both that you know, better than to whisper this intel into the wrong ears. Secrecy is our highest priority. Alright, just gotta mark this off as read. And, yes, Colonel. We are grateful that the commander has faith in us. There's no doubt that we'll carry this mission out successfully.
Yeah, how about that? Okata-san heaved a sigh in the face of Yamazaki-san's serious declaration. His eyes were dismissive as he stared at the other man.
This is just fucking great. Anybody else think we're just creating more flunkies to blindly follow Hijikata? Or is it just me?
Damn. Okay.
Do not insult us or your superior with thinking any of the watch are so foolish as to blindly give our loyalty. My respect for Commander Hijikata-san is genuine. That's all.
His eyes narrowed. His icy look towards Okata-san just shy of a glare. Okata-san's sideways grin edged a little sharper, and everyone in the room could feel the sudden tension in the air. Well then, I guess we found out the root of why these two hate each other.
Stop it, Soji. No, don't needlessly start a fight inside the group. You too, Yamazaki. Calm down. You mustn't speak back to a captain.
It was as if they hadn't heard a word. They continued staring, neither breaking eye contact, neither giving an inch. Hijikata-san grimaced and rubbed his forehead as if it suddenly pained him.
Meeting is over. Everyone get the hell out. You two from the watch, stay. I'll need to debrief you on what you should expect. At
Hijikata-san's command, all the captains said their goodbyes and filed out of the room. Inoue caught my eye and signaled that I should follow them, so I bowed and left as well. Only the leaders, Kondo-san, Hijikata-san, and Sanan-san, remained behind to speak to the watch. I had to admit I was curious about the top-secret orders, but knowing what I did already was what got me into this. I was glad I didn't have to know anymore. The meeting had wound me up, so I returned to my room to stretch and calm my mind. It really was for the best that I wasn't a part of the decision going on right then. The room and atmosphere had been slowly suffocating me under its weight, and I was more than glad to have left it. It's hard to believe we ate breakfast just a little while ago. I glanced at the position of the sun. Surprisingly, it was almost time for lunch. I think it's Harada-san's turn to prepare the food today. Warm and relaxed in the sunlight, I stared daydreaming about what we might be eating later. What?
Oh!
A giant crash sounded and I nearly jumped out of my skin. Yeah, that almost made me do the same thing.
I was not expecting it either.
A chorus of voices shouted from the other end of the hallway.
Hajime, over here! I know, but it doesn't mean that I can capture it. Look where it is. Stop running, moving your damn mouth and move your feet instead. Run! What are you guys doing here? Whoa!
What's going on out there?
The commotion was making me curious, but I was still mostly restricted to my room unless I was accompanied by someone.
Just a quick look would be okay, right?
Maybe something horrible happened. Were we attacked? And I shouldn't stay put, or I'd be in some kind of danger because I didn't know what was going on. Worry and curiosity warred in my mind until I finally gave in. I slid the door open and poked my head out just enough.
Squee! Oh, it's the cat incident, right? I wish there was sound to go with this. What? A cat? Don't tell me that this is Okita's. Take responsibility and get it under control. I already said it's not mine, damn it. I want to catch it as much as you guys. Soji, you seem to have time to argue. Move your feet instead.
I can hear the cat sounds. I am a cat after all.
There we go.
The three men scrambled down the hallway, focused and completely serious. We're after a cat.
What's going on?
The murderous and highly fierce Shinsengumi, each man a deadly warrior in his own right, was playing tag with a cat. I had to still be daydreaming. I stood dumbstruck as they barreled past me, and I watched their backs until they turned the next corner.
Chizuru!
Hesuke-kun!
His call snapped me out of my stupor, and I turned to see him trotting towards me.
What was it? Oh.
What was that all about? Why were they running after a cat? Did something happen?
Well, it's kind of a long story. Do you have the time? You have time right now?
Sure.
We'll need to figure out our plan of attack. Chizuru, we're gonna borrow your room.
Nagakura-san?
Yeah.
He appeared out of nowhere, startling me, and disappeared into my room almost as quickly.
Oh, good idea.
What?
We don't have time to goof off. This takes top priority. Sorry about this, Chizuru. All the other... Yeah, sorry, Chizuru, about this. All the other rooms seem to be occupied or in use. This is the only place we can use on short notice.
Eh?
I couldn't think of how to reply. My stomach churned as I watched the three of them go into my room. I had a bad feeling this wasn't going to end well, and somehow I was going to end up involved.
Hey, hey, have you seen Sano or Hesuke? I've been trying to find them.
They said something about figuring out a plan of attack, so they went into my room for a meeting.
A meeting? Excellent idea. We should join them.
Oh, God.
Huh?
I watched the two of them walk through the doorway. It wasn't as if I couldn't tell them no, as I was their guest, so I resigned myself to the situation. Before I could blink, there were 5 Shinsengumi captains gathered in my room. I wonder if I should beat a hasty retreat somewhere else while their meeting was going on, when suddenly...
Hey, get in here, Chizuru. If the other men spot you hanging out in the hallway outside your own room, it'll be hell to explain. Oh, really? As opposed to her standing around 5 guys in her own room?
Hey.
He gestured me inside and I stepped in. The once decently sized living space I'd spent most of my days now looked, and felt, a lot smaller now that I had several large male warriors.
It started in the kitchen.
He rubbed the back of his neck and deliberately avoided looking into anyone's eyes as he continued.
Sano and I are in charge of lunch today, so we were getting things ready like usual. Ugh. But then, out of nowhere, that thing got in, and everything we had was just gone. It's like a war zone in there.
What he said made no sense.
You're talking about the cat, right? The cat in the kitchen? Did it do something?
It knocked over all the pots and pans we've been using. Of course, the food went everywhere. I think I even saw some hit the ceiling.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
His mouth twisted bitterly. Both him and Nagakura-san looked so bleak, and that, more than their words, told me how bad the kitchen had to look.
Right now, it's looking like we won't have lunch, but that's not the worst part.
It's not?
Ichikata's gonna go full demon on us. He might string us up by our thumbs, or make us sit and listen to him lecture about wasted food for hours. We can only hope if we get off that easy, Hesuke. With the mood he's in, he might add fists or blades.
Everyone fell silent. The mood in the room turned dark. Saito-san's voice pierced the gloom. He spoke softly, but all of us could hear how deadly serious he was.
We must keep this matter quiet. The commander should not be troubled with this. We can take care of the issue ourselves.
Where is he right now?
He's still back in the main hall, talking to Kondo-san or Sanan-san about official business. If we interrupt an important meeting for this, with him how he is right now, we not might be presentable to the public for months. Some of us might not even be found.
God damn it,
Ever.
Soji. Again, his words caused the room to go silent. The tension was taut like a bowstring, and the air nearly hummed with it.
So, yeah. Do you think you could give us a hand, Chizuru?
Huh?
Chizuru-chan? We gotta get the kitchen clean quick and remake lunch before it gets too late. We can't take care of all of this on our own.
But
Please? If the rest of the guys catch on before we get this whole thing cleared up, it's gonna be horrible. I don't even want to think about it. I'm not gonna be able to get Hesuke's portion this time.
And of course, I was nearly begging. He would have continued, but Hesuke couldn't cut him off.
Hey, sure, the kitchen's bad, but don't forget we need to keep Hijikata-san from finding out. What are we gonna do? If he didn't hear the noise already, he's deaf, so I'm sure he's figured out that something's going on.
It sounded like he wanted me to help distract Hijikata-san and come up with some sort of excuse while he fixed everything. I didn't really appreciate how willing he was to throw me at the demon commander all of us were frightened of.
That's important. Maybe we should take care of catching that damn cat before it causes any more problems, huh?
Soji, aren't you good with cats?
Maybe. Agreed. We'll have to move to split up the tasks.
I almost didn't want to ask the question, but I was afraid of getting in some sort of trouble.
But I'm restricted to my room while I'm here. I can't leave. How can I help?
Under normal circumstances, that's true. However, unforeseen events have occurred, and we must make an exception.
What?
At this point, we'd even take assistance from another cat if it proved helpful. We could use you.
Quick, get Toshizo. My life was theirs to control while I stayed here with them, so there really was no way to say no, but I couldn't even respond. My whole body was tense, and cold sweat trickled down my spine at the thought of working with them.
I'm sure things will work out fine, and we'll have a laugh about this later. Don't worry. If you can't do much, it's okay. Just do what you can, and that'll be good enough.
That was it then. I didn't really have a choice. I was helping them out one way or another. What should I do? Wait! I have choices?
Wow!
I have... Hold up. I have choices? What the... What?
Will.
Hold. I'm trying to see. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, we can pick who we're going with. Oh my god, there are choices because they go with somebody. So... This one is for... Hesuke, Saito, Okita, and Hijikata.
So, obviously, distracting Hijikata is, well, Hijikata.
Nope. Wait.
What?
Yes. It's for Hijikata and Heisuke.
Catching the cat obviously goes to Okita and Saito.
Yes.
And then helping out with lunch goes to the Baka twins.
Is it? Wait, hold on. Let me see.
I mean, specifically Harada, since Nagakura doesn't have a route.
Oh, it's help with lunch. Yeah, that's Harada. What
Baka
is...
twins fits. Spill!
Oh god. We'll decide a route. These have roots! I didn't expect to have a root.
No, I'm still spinning. And are you fucking kidding me? It's a 3-way tie currently.
Oh god.
It's only 3 spins. Okay, this could be potentially the last one.
Oh god.
Okay, maybe not.
Oh.
Is this just gonna come down to the wire like it did a couple times ago?
Yes. Da, da.
Oh my god, it is.
Eh?
It's gonna come down to the wire.
Oh god.
Alright, let's see what it is.
Uh,
I don't fucking believe it.
What?
Distract Hijikata.
So which route are we going down?
It's either Heisuke or Hijikata.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
Distract Hijikata, and I accidentally hit the wheel again, and it said Hijikata, so it picked all 4 instances of Hijikata. What the fuck?
What does this mean?
So, I think after Harada, we need to do Heisuke?
Eh?
Because we just did Hijikata, we're gonna have to do Heisuke after Harada.
What? I'm confused. What?
After Harada's route,
Uh-huh.
we need to do Heisuke's now,
Oh.
I think. I think this is what it's trying to tell us.
So, for this little adventure, what route are we doing?
Either Hijikata or...
Heisuke.
Yeah.
Which one?
It said...
We have to pick one.
Wait. So, it's Distract Hijikata, of course.
Yes, but which route are we going down? Because they both are required for their little mini adventures.
I guess Hijikata then?
Alright. I keep Hijikata. Distract Hijikata.
We need to make sure Hijikata-san doesn't find out about all of this, right? I might be able to help do that. Well, I'll try my best to, at least.
You'll do great, I promise. If you come with me, I'm sure we won't have any problems distracting him. Oh no.
You think so?
Yeah, of course. It'll totally work. We better get going and prepare the tea.
Heisuke-kun? What are you planning?
What?
He was so excited that he dashed out of the room before explaining anything to me.
Is he gonna put a laxative in the tea?
What?
That would definitely distract Hijikata.
Oh, Jesus. Suddenly worried, I hurried after him.
What the hell are you here for?
His head turned when the door opened, clearly not pleased to see us there. I flinched and quickly looked at the floor.
Oh, hey, cut out with the demon glare, alright? There's no need to look so scary, okay? We're here because we thought you guys might like some tea. Ah, that actually sounds like a wonderful idea. I was getting thirsty too. Heisuke, you have great timing.
Heisuke's plan boiled down to simply bringing the three men tea, and thereby giving them something else to focus on instead of everything going on outside. It felt rather flimsy and full of holes to me. I wasn't sure it would even work.
This is quite thoughtful. It's not like you to be considerate. Exactly. You only do this when there's something you're trying to hide. Better not have anything to do with why it's noisy out there.
They pretty much guessed it in one try, but Heisuke gamey shook his head.
No. That's not why. I mean, why are you so suspicious, Hijikata? There's nothing going on out there. No. I mean, you're always just so busy, so I thought maybe I could do something for you. I'm being nice, that's all. Oh, wait. Did you want some snacks to go along with that tea? I think they're in here somewhere.
In the face of his commander's deep frown, Heisuke-kun didn't falter. It was rather admirable in a way. After a moment, Hijikata-san's eyes narrowed, flicking between both me and Heisuke-kun.
Why did both of you come? There's a reason for it. Huh? Oh, it's hard to carry everything for tea by myself, and I needed enough for 3 people. I didn't have enough hands. So, common sense, you know? You know, that wasn't what he was asking, Toto. Out with it. Why did you bring her with you? Well, I'm sure you've not forgotten, but we're in the middle of a meeting. But yet you still brought someone who should not be privy to our discussion. That is very problematic.
His eyes were cold as he watched me intently. My heart sped up. Hijikata-san sighed and suddenly looked tired. He rubbed his forehead.
If memory serves, I ordered you guys to keep her confined to her room. She may only leave if there's a reason she needs to be out. I know that, but, well, having guys pour the tea takes some of the flavor out. It tastes a lot better if a girl did it, wouldn't it? Oh, you know what? It really does taste better with her pouring. I didn't even realize.
Oh my god.
Either Kondo knows or he's just...
I don't know.
Heisuke's lame excuse
Seemed to work on Kondo-san as he grinned and nodded, clearly pleased.
So, Toshi, Sonnen, couldn't you just let it go? No harm done, after all. It's nice of them to be just being generous, but there's a definite time and place for something like that. Now is not one of those times.
Each having said their piece, they sat back and waited. Kono-san with a frown, while Sana-san's expression was nearly unreadable. All my words were caught in my throat. This was not the time to speak out of turn, so all I could do was watch silently. Suddenly, Hijikata-san turned and looked right at me.
Hey, do you understand the situation you're in? One mistake could get you killed, yet you still came here. Why?
There was a reason I was there, but, if I told them the truth, would they understand? But if I did tell them everything, Heisuke-kun and the others would get in trouble.
Better not find out you're hiding something from us.
His stern gaze felt piercing, as if he was looking right through me and uncovering all my secrets. I had to.
Had to what?
Tell them everything! There was no way I could hide it anymore.
Actually...
Uh-oh. Well, hold on there, Chizuru. Be careful what you say to them. If anyone needs to speak his words, if anyone needs to mind his words here, it'd be you. Let her speak as she wishes. Okay, so you threaten her with death, but you say that she can speak freely. Huh?
Heisuke grimaced in the face of Sana-san's irritated command, but kept quiet.
I'm sorry, Heisuke-kun, but
We gotta take a drink.
Yep. Drinky drink it is. Oh. Holy shit, it's been 3 hours.
Yeah, so as soon as this is done, we're done.
I think. I don't know how much look.
It shouldn't be too much longer, right? Since
I don't know. I've never played this part before.
it wasn't in the remake?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's actually in one of the Switch games. Yeah.
I couldn't keep lying to them. I didn't feel like it was helping us at all. If I told them everything, then maybe with their help we would figure out a way to clear up the situation faster.
That's okay. Do what you want. I mean, we did kind of drag you into this anyway. We should have kept you out of it.
Gomenasai.
Yep, again.
I looked at him and he seemed not so much angry with me as frustrated at getting caught. I breathed a little easier.
So, out with it. What the hell is going on?
Well...
Cat!
Cat. I thought for a moment to organize my thoughts and then explained everything that had happened.
Well, you see, Cat, and then... That's not a very nice thing to call Soji. So you're saying a cat stuck into the headquarters and is the cause of this situation?
He repeated everything back as if he needed confirmation. He almost sounded disbelieving.
The food prepared for lunch is completely ruined. And this cat is still free somewhere in the compound? No one's caught it?
His shoulders slumped, and the weary lines on his face deepened. He closed his eyes.
Crying kids shut up. Men pissed themselves, and still the combined might of the captains of the Shinzagumi can't capture one damned cat? It'll be fine. Soji and Hajime are both after it right now, so I'm sure they'll get it soon.
Kondo-san crossed his arms and furrowed his brow, deep in thought.
Don't you think this will get resolved faster if we all pitched in and searched for it? What are you saying, Kondo? We don't have to go that far. No use getting worked up over a cat.
He frowned and twitched his shoulders as if shaking off an annoying pest.
Hijikata, why? We'll look like fools to the rank and file. I believe you'll look like fools to those of us who know very as well. Can't be avoided.
His tone was so even that the sarcasm oozed through the cracks, striking a well-timed attack with no counter.
If you wish for the creature to be caught, then it would be wise to let the men go after it. There's already a commotion, so regardless of whether or not you choose to help them, the outcome will still be the same. An explanation will need to be made.
think no one could agree. Heisuke-kun glanced around the room for some kind of help, and his eyes fell on me.
What do you think, Chizuru?
Me?
What should we do?
Catch the cat!
Leave it alone.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I think we should just see what it does. Maybe if we stay quiet and leave it alone, it'll just go away on its own.
Well, I guess we could do that, but it's pretty boring to sit here and watch it go wherever it wants. Not the issue here. We're not here to play around.
He frowned, his brow nearly obscuring his eyes for a moment. His voice was somber and not angry as I thought it might be.
It's not a good idea for all of us to go chasing after that cat. If a creature larger than you attacks you out of nowhere, of course you'd be frightened of it.
Looking thoughtful, Kondo-san rubbed his chin and nodded several times.
Toshi makes a good point. For having truly earned the nickname of Demon, you're surprisingly kind towards small animals.
Sana-san's smile was a few hairs short of being sharp. Hijikata-san shifted uncomfortably and turned away.
Leave it be for now. Doubt it'll be crazy enough to consider living here after what it's been through. Keep our distance, and the animal will up and leave on its own. Are you sure about that?
Decisions made, there was no other reason for me to be there among them, so I was sent back to my room. Somehow, not that I wasn't grateful, I escaped any sort of punishment. The boys dragged me into it. That night, something woke me from my sleep. A sound, small but definitely there.
Meow.
Meow.
Wait, what's that?
Meow.
The sound was coming closer. It wouldn't hurt to take a quick glance before leaving it alone, so I slid my door open silently.
And it may have slid open quietly.
When I looked, I was surprised to see Hijikata-san, the moonlight making his features clear.
It may have been moving silently and everything, but as soon as it made contact, crash!
In front of him was the cat.
Is the life of a cat easier than that of a man? I guess all living things have their own trials to overcome. We're not that different after all.
Wait, was Hijikata-san talking to the cat?
Yes.
The cat should have been terrified and running for its life, but instead it was calm and quiet. How could that be? The deadly intimidating commander I thought I knew was nowhere to be seen in the man sitting in the hallway.
You casually strolled into the den of the dangerous wolves of Mibu, you know them. You wouldn't be able to do that if you had someone waiting for you somewhere. Got some balls on you, cat. Well, either that or you couldn't care less. Meow.
I like how we both meow. Purring quietly. Good, because I can't purr. Purring quietly, the cat looked up at Hijikata-san, its head tilted and ears pricked
All
forward.
you gotta do is just vibrate your tongue while your mouth is shut.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. For me, it doesn't work.
Well, I guess I'm more talented than you.
Yeah.
Meow.
Don't give me that look. Did you think that was funny?
He gently smiled, the lines on his face softening, and leaned forward as if to make sure no one else heard him.
That would be a pain in the ass to get attached, so you better get out of here quickly. This is the headquarters of the Shinzugumi. It's no place for a cat. We can't afford to be distracted. Oh yes, it's no place for a cat, but you kept Soji. So go on. Find a place of your own somewhere else. Maybe try a nest. Heard you're pretty comfortable. Meow.
Almost as if it had been listening to him, the cat turned and left Hijikata-san's side. On silent feet, it padded off into the darkness. Stunned, I remained frozen at the doorframe, not blinking even once. The music stopped. A rustle of cloth and our eyes met. His expression turned thunderous.
What are you doing, Chizuru? Don't stay up so late.
Gomenasai!
And I've got to refill my Hawaiian punch. Hurry up and go to bed. Don't stick your nose in other people's business.
Hi!
I quickly bowed and couldn't close my door fast enough. Whoa. That is Hawaiian Punch.
Being poured into a gamer sub shaker.
My heart was pounding and my face burned. But surprisingly, I wasn't really scared. I guess after seeing that private moment in the hallway, I wasn't as frightened of him anymore.
Perhaps he's fond of small animals?
I thought back on what I just witnessed and couldn't stop the smile from spreading on my face. I climbed back into bed, my heart a little lighter. This time my sleep stayed uninterrupted, and I dreamt until morning.
I knew it!
So, wow, they really picked Hijikata to do that special, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wow. Now I want to know what the others are like. But we're not. I'm not gonna do that.
It's been 3.5 hours.
It's been 3 hours.
So tomorrow afternoon is going to be Hi-Fi Rush.
And trying to beat Mimosa, which is probably gonna take all stream because she has 3 stages and I don't know how to beat her quick enough.
I have 4.
Ah! And what are we doing at night?
Either this or SSL or I don't know. And I'm honestly up for whatever.
We could do art.
Yeah.
Because SSL kind of took the art spot on Thursday.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, let's do that.
Alright, we're doing art tomorrow night.
Yay!
Finishing up the Takeda piece. And then we have to spin a wheel to see what's next.
Oh, yeah. So that means in the meantime, everybody, please drink water.
Have a good day or night.
Try not to die because you didn't drink water. And get this opening out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye!
Bye!